Huh.
Huh.
Hmm. What are we thinking about here? What are we contemplating?
I'm just gonna see how they expand.
Yes, me too. Huck or puck. He's not even here. Why am I doing that? Harstem and puck. Huck right there. One of the things Puck was joking was like, I just didn't want that spawn. And I'm like, well, that's not wrong. Not with the way we just saw this game play out. But of course, there are only 2 spawns. That's the joke. In the top left side, middle part of the map, it's going to be the red Protoss. Vision Esports Harstem.
In the middle, bottom right, as the purple Protoss, it's puck.
All right, so we just saw on this map the, we'll call it awkwardness that these ramps created. I can certainly see issues where you can send adepts up here through their sonic transfer and be big problems. And I don't know. That's gonna just. I feel like it needs a full wall off. Puck's on which team right now? But is it side? No, it's not side. It's he's on flip side, I think, right now, right?
I think so. Yes.
All right. And quick credit goes to the map maker once again, Enik. It's the name of the gentleman who created this map, or gentlewoman, I don't know. But the interesting, Alba's the only female map maker I know, so that's the only one I can definitively say. Her and Avex, I guess. But this map, I think, if we can get past this awkwardness that is this ramp, right, and this doesn't get abused, and we talked about expanding outwards, I think it's kind of interesting because you get these rocks that will eventually lead into the back door here. There's this path on the right side, but there's so much you're either outside or in on the map. There's not a lot of bobbing and weaving and no in between. Like, you are really going on the extremes to get around the map, or you're going straight to the base.
You're out or in. Don't be a cat about this. Out or in.
That is the best cat reference I think you've ever made on a cast, and I give you extreme compliments.
It's true. It is a very interesting map in that, depending on how you choose your first expansion, basically, I mean, I guess you can expand the third, the gold base as well. But anyways, you are choosing completely different ways of playing this map. So not very surprising at all to see them both open up with double gateways. Anything else, I think, is just kind of suicide. Unless they proxy. Proxy actually would have been such a bad idea. It's basically proxied anyways, right? But then beyond this, I guess, is where, of course, it gets to be more of a question, because it can also be a situation, like a tug-of-war situation, where if you think your early game damage was enough, that's the whole entire reason you expand to the gold. But if you're the one that didn't do so well in the beginning, then that's the entire reason you expand at the back. But of course, nothing's really happened yet, so seeing expansions being planned out. Right on the rocks, okay, yeah, sure.
Well, they are both taking down. I mean, so this is kind of interesting. They obviously can't see what's going on, but they're both coming up at this with the same strategy in mind. And this, for me, is going to be really cool if we see this be the trend of things. Now, it's actually 2 differences now with the expansion of the backside for puck. A little bit safer, but, well, this might be a little more reckless out of Harstem in the center. That gold base could also be more beneficial.
Right, yeah, absolutely. This is that give and take of a gold base in effect in here, but
nice control so far with these stalkers.
Actually, it's winning puck the game right now, because if this does snowball, it's going to be a cancel and a nexus, where if it's snowballed the other way around, of course, you have a post and overcharge, not a big deal. Okay, the pylon does finish, speaking of, that's pretty important, and the militia core is in position, so Harstem will save this base. And now puck is going to have to deal with someone who has a gold base. Is he going to be really eager to tear it down, or is he going to just be kind of okay with that and continue his own macro game? Because the Nexus timings are identical, but not the types of bases.
I mean, a fully saturated normal base is not going to be too bad compared to a fully saturated gold base. But what's kind of interesting is this base here actually leads to some very interesting expansion potential for Harstem. This mines out, and you can take this base as well. Like, there's really weird ways this will work out. The mothership actually dies on like the last millisecond of the recall. Gets 2 probes. Can't say that was worth it. Yeah,
you don't usually have a potent overcharge kill your mothership. I gotta give that.
I guess he did kill 2 stalkers early on, so I mean, puck's still not too worse for wear for it. But as he falls back home, he has lacked on production for a little bit of time. So trying to emphasize probe production and getting this nexus up. He's up a lot of workers, sure, but Blink's not gonna be done for the fight. And this is actually something a little bit awkward. Force fields here are gonna be really nice.
Yeah, in fact, necessary. So Harstem does send in a Phoenix, so they don't really know what each other is doing. And of course, Harstem's even more in the dark because he didn't see that expansion go down. but I think it's assumed, and he sees it right then and there. But then beyond that, it was questionable whether it was Robo for the Warp Prism or Stargate, of course, could have been brought in, but it is just Blink for puCK with a Warp Prism to provide a little bit of harassment. So they're going to be using a bit of the outside of these bases.
Oh, this is so disgustingly
this
awesome.
Is so annoying. Wow.
But this also makes me think, again, like, let's go back to Beastie and Lambo for a second. If he expanded here and Beastie didn't super push, like, he could have just had Marines on the other side of this and denied mining. Like, Hellions too, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, who's building the pylon? Okay, that's actually Harstem building the pylon. I like that for the chance of an overcharge. I like that a lot, actually.
That is kind of a clever way to deal with this. puCK was going to stay there basically forever unless something really pushed it back, and Harstem did not want to get that far out of position to push this back. So nice thinking on both sides. Now puCK said, you know, he had the regular base, but it's mining and he has more probes, so it's probably not really looking too bad. And we do have graphs on, although we've had many occasions to use it, because it's mostly about the maps, not the build, to be honest. But puCK is actually winning the economy war, despite this. And maybe even like thinking about taking a third base. He's got a probe patrolling the regular third as well. I mean, in this situation, when you have pretty identical builds, pretty close anyways, and, you know, the armor supply really isn't that different, I do wonder if it would be better to take the third as the gold, because then you don't have to worry about them potentially blocking out. Well, actually, you still have the ramp on your side.
Yeah, that's questionable. This side of the map, though, problems are going to be had as Harstem does have to pull back to deal with what is possibly more behind this. The overcharge auto attack, he has to refocus it. And he does target down one of the stalkers, but this still leaves that the mineral line quite vulnerable, as I stumble over my words there. On the other hand, puCK, I was really worried for a moment, though. With an Immortal and a lot coming his way, he wasn't quite ready to fight. Now he's got Blink. Harstem's got Blink in a second, too, of course. But now he's got Immortals. Like, puCK's army for the defense, I think, looks great.
Yeah. Harstem takes his base, his third base, that is, in the backside, which makes the most sense. The gold base would not have mined out in time to get a regular third to the left, as odd as that would have looked. So puCK will probably match it soon. Now, puCK's been focusing on the backside of the gold base for a long time, and as well he should. He's been doing some good damage here. But there's actually like an entrance into this third base too. Like, he could also just kind of walk north, and then Harstem would have to completely go around to help defend it.
Well, both players have Blink, so I mean, like, Harstem really could, if he wanted to, blink over the mineral patches and just catch those stalkers, but that Warp Prism might be able to just get him away in a sticky situation. 5 stalkers just kind of dipping in, not really killing a lot of probes, but killing probes nonetheless. Ooh, disruptors coming out of puCK, by the way.
Oh, makes sense. Harstem has a single upgrade lead, which would even like, extend this war here, like, in his favor. But obviously, puCK had far less stalkers. They were just trying to poke, not really engage. Gets a bit of a scout off. Sees actually +2, although doesn't know it's +2, but sees the forge starting up, and there's nothing tricky here, I suppose. So the scouting is pretty much done.
Oh, this is not going to be a fight that puCK can win. I like it defensively. I don't like it offensively.
Yeah, no, not at all. Oh, whoa, this is really questionable. And again, Blink available for both sides. puCK just leave.
I mean, the reinforcing defender's advantage is going to be something I don't think he overcomes. There's also a lot of sentries out of Harstem, which means maybe force fields, but also guardian shields, more importantly.
puCK is about to have a disruptor, which will certainly help, especially if Harstem makes the mistake of basically not realizing that and blinking in aggressively as he sees quite an army advantage here.
It's almost like
force
bait,
fields
like,
are used.
I wanted to get captured all along. Force fields aren't going to stop the disruptor shot from going off. Gets a decent hit, but really nothing too amazing. The Immortals caught out with these force fields are actually way more devastating, and Harstem is absolutely just running train here over puCK.
Yeah, this army fight went totally, absolutely terrible, and that is a little bit on puCK for even trying to engage.
I agree. Entirely his mistake there. We got Warpins potentially over here on the right side to defend overcharges as well, but disruptors will mean that Harstem can't really push up that ramp. Even with Blink being what it is, you still don't want to have to go up that ramp into what is 1, 2, or even 3 disruptors.
Yeah.
So puCK, despite that army supply deficit, still holding on. His upgrades are still going to be behind as well. So when it comes to Stalker versus Stalker purely and entirely, it's going to go in Harstem's favor. But those disruptors can level the playing field in a big way. We've even seen situations where players are up like 5 disruptors over their opponent and still lose because of one good disruptor hit on the other side.
Absolutely. puCK, he reveals that his army is actually over here. Now, he probably feels comfortable because he has disruptors in the main. A Time Warp even goes down here, and Harstem is not going to try. I think he can. If he can get up the ramp and he can get a concave.
Time Warp's kind of a cool idea. It was going to catch anything that moved into these disruptors, but these shots aren't going off. One detonates, the other one does catch some of the sentries.
I don't know why puCK or Harstem blinked into that. That was very questionable. If he had a concave and blinked out, you know, maybe kill the Cybernex core in the gateway and kind of keep a position there, okay, it's still not
It's-
ideal because then you're still kind of stuck, but that would have been better.
I wonder, because what I get really interested about is, like, did Harstem just think there was still only like 1 or 2 disruptors? Because if that's the case and he
Yeah.
saw those first 2 shots and blinks in to focus them down, that makes sense. But that third one may have been a little bit like, oh, you have that. I did not realize.
Yeah. That does lose him his army supply lead that he had. And he had quite a big one, I believe, like 20 or something. So now it's kind of flipped in puCK's favor. And of course, his disruptor count is going to take, well, actually not that long to catch up because he has double robo. Oh, puCK does now too. Never mind.
Well, what's kind of interesting, I think, as well, we look at the army resources lost, or the overall resources lost, and it's kind of similar, but the income, despite being ahead for Harstem and having that whole extra base up, he's still not really snowballing yet. So puCK, he's still fighting this out. He's still not too far behind in this game. And disruptors don't really require upgrades, so the upgrade deficit, again, really only affects stalkers shooting other stalkers and things, more so than the disruptors.
Actually, I put puCK in quite a good position. He's the one that's increasing the disruptor
I
count.
think as long as he's defending, he's going to be in a great spot. I think if he keeps pushing out like he did before, if he does things like this that are risky, I don't think it nets him a huge reward. It's just not worth the cost.
So that's a good point. Yeah, he might really have a very tough time breaking out of here, but he's breaking down the rocks to not only get his own expansion potentially, because he still doesn't want to get the gold, but also to open up an attack path to Harstem's 4th. So again, if his disruptors can cover the main ramp, which they are missing an opportunity to
They're
once
clumped,
again.
though. He gets the shot second, not first, so he loses 2 disruptors.
That's pretty bad, but Harstem doesn't have the opportunity to continue. His Dark Templar scouts the attack and decides not to do a base trade or anything like that. He's trying to go back home to deal with this, but unfortunately his Blink Stalker can get over the gold base, but the rest of his army can't.
The only place he doesn't have cannons is the one base the DTs went, actually. It's kind of
Oh, that's
interesting.
unfortunate.
But you know what? He's actually starting to mine it out.
His Immortals can fit through that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. I didn't think that was
He-
gonna happen.
Mining out that mineral patch is actually kind of huge, actually. Because this
Yeah.
would have been such a big fight for puCK if only Blink Stalkers were available for defense out of Harstem.
I can't believe the Disruptors fit through too. Wow.
Yo,
okay.
maybe we just got a bad taste of that first time we saw this map, but that was really cool, and I really like the way the gold base is factored into what could have been the timing on this game. Can you imagine timing's now built around a third base not mining that base out in time?
That would be... Well, that would be really cool, but very
Oh,
specific.
This base is gonna be troubles.
It does have to be canceled. But, you know, if he cancels this one, there is an opportunity now to take the gold base, which he has been missing out on because, well, Harstem's been camping it.
Yeah, Zealots
that
get blown
makes
away. That's what's unfortunate with Zealots, man. You should be able to activate their charge to friendly units if you need to, like in a pinch.
Come here, bro. Ow, you hurt me.
It's like Mercy in Overwatch, you know? Just jump around.
Except it hurts.
Well, don't do the damage, obviously. Friendly fire, whatever.
The DTs, I knew they were warped into a warp prism. I wonder where that went to. It actually went north and
Oh,
then
they're
back
just gonna
down
focus
south.
the cannon.
Yeah, the cannons went down so damn quick. And puCK, I don't know what he can do to actually help defend here. You know, his army supply really isn't
Oh,
that
no!
bad, but his economy's starting to get really down.
His observer's gonna come out, but he still didn't have detection for the first part of this, so those warpins were useless.
Oh.
Other side of the map, Harstem's still pressuring. This man is on fire. He's doing two
Oh,
things
no.
at once.
Oh,
The
my
disruptors, 4 of them go down. puCK out of position, gonna lose a Nexus on top of this, and Harstem expands while this goes on. DT still going ham in the main, and this is, well, maybe getting cleaned up at the cost of a large portion of his main army.
There's no way puCK wins with only one disruptor, but again, I think Harstem's scared that, you know, there might be 2 popping out, so he's not diving in to kill said disruptor. I mean, he has such a much more powerful army.
Yeah.
This could absolutely be game, but now with puCK getting 2 more disruptors, maybe that'll bring it back. His
Yo.
4th base finished, by the way,
That-
which is a mistake.
That's all that actually needs to be cleaned up. If puCK loses the ability to build stalkers, that's gonna be huge.
Another disruptor goes down. puCK's army supplies does not look that bad, but it's so much worse. I don't know where did those 2 disruptors go? I don't know, one died. Oh, they just are reinforcing now. So finally he has his own disruptors, but only 2 shots.
Harstem now moving on to what's potentially Tempest next behind this. This is when that game gets really, really dicey, but I just want to point out the upgrades are still in the favor of Harstem. puCK never really found the time, but more importantly, the gas to reach out for that +3 weapons upgrade.
Yeah, he's always been behind on those upgrades, but
Oh, that blink was questionable.
it wouldn't be a problem if he was ahead in the disruptors as he originally was. And then everything just started really to tumble down. That was kind of a cool split with that stalker.
Yeah, he also did something a little bit interesting there, where I think that was almost like bait out of Harstem, the way he handled that third disruptor, or rather the first disruptor shot, excuse me.
Yeah.
But both have
Ooh.
expanded to the corners of the map. Now we're still having this game dredge on a little bit long, and I think that's a bad thing. This is really cool to see. I mean, this right here is exactly why I love PvP, but uh-oh, gotta fall back on those disruptor shots.
That was so dangerous by puCK. or by Harstem, puCK is getting a more like, you know, defensive disruptor count, so he can actually probably hold on to a ramp similar to the early mid game that we saw.
For now, I mean, one of the big things though is if Harstem keeps these disruptors alive and he pairs up with Tempest, he'll be able to pick off pucks. As puCK is nowhere close to Stargate deck, much less a fleet beacon.
Harstem is absolutely going to win this game. He is up like 50 supply, and a lot of that is of course in the probes, but
oh well, not unless he starts eating a ton of disruptor shots. Gotta be careful about that.
It is, yeah. It's not even enough though. Like they're getting like a fourth of the army, not even killing the immortals, of course.
It's gonna hit base trade territory. One of the Tempest's gonna get denied with the pylon going down. That kind of sucks. But as they do actually start trading out, I'm wondering, puCK actually has more stalkers, so he can technically kill things faster and better. I don't know. I feel like a DT defensively warped in though might just end up saving Harstem's butt in this scenario.
Yeah. puCK lost all of his disruptors except the ones that just popped out, so they're probably gonna be chased down.
Where the hell is the observer?
He has one at home.
No, I mean here, he had something detecting
Oh, there
these
it
DTs.
is. Yeah, I don't know. There's an observer over that little pillar.
Oh, a little there. I see him.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was like, where is the hell is the observer? It's clicking all over the place. But while this goes on, it is base trade territory on BaseTradeTV. Cannons will stall out a little bit over here. Base on the top right being set up, but Harstem's already on top of that with a stalker. Production-wise, I guess there's a couple of gateways over here, but he's going to bank a lot of stalkers and just hope that the warp-ins will hold, I guess? I don't know. This is getting kind of dire. puCK's not in a great spot, but Harstem also has no defense.
Right. I can't believe puCK got his disruptors over to his main army, by the way, but
yeah,
luckily
that's
they
impressive.
popped out. Harstem didn't notice or something. Definitely take out that Dark Shrine. Kind of uncomplicate things. Unfortunately, Harstem just warped in 3 more.
Repower the Stargate, potentially get that Tempest out.
Yeah, that's true. puCK, unfortunately, is going to have to always be the one disengaging and running away, and it's just going to have a lot of hot shots on his army. 2
different angles for this fight. Disruptors are going to go down. Few stalkers escape, but it's not going to be enough. And with momentum now lost, this game has definitely gone in Harstem's favor. But this was a really cool... this is what kills me. Like, we got so biased off of seeing one bad map. And this is, I think, what happens with, like, people on the ladder, too, right? And that's our bad. But this was a cool map at the end of the day, and this looked so much better this time around in this PvP than, say, the TVZ. Does that mean it's a good map and it should go to ladder? Absolutely not, but it's nice to see that there's different ways to play this map out instead of one really crappy, cheesy, awkward ramp way.
That's true. The thing is that this is a map that is going to be so different with every game and every matchup and every race. And I don't know if it's going to be... I don't even know what the word would be, like not safe enough, but just like usable enough and regular ladder to actually be picked. We'll see, I guess, the more that we see it, because people are actually choosing it, which I think is a little bit surprising after that first game, but we might have more people choose it as the other ones seem to be, worse options, and we'll see if it always is wonky or if it actually has some balance to it. GG!
Yeah, GG gets called, and... that's going to give the first game in this best of 9 to Harstem, which does mean we'll be going to North America next. So losers pick, losers server as well. Gonna swap over.
Nope, don't swap, nope.
Why not?
Because puCK says he doesn't want to swap, so he's not. He doesn't want to ultimate.
Okay, that works too. Well, we'll get the next map up in a second. We're gonna go to a small break while we get this set up, though. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you in 2 minutes. So we're back with an interesting update. Apparently, balance patches live now. I guess it doesn't really affect PvP. Because the changes were primarily like Zerg and Terran.
Yeah.
Harstem. All right. We're going to Frozen Zone next. Frozen Zone is made by... oh, I cannot say this name. I'm just going to put this on screen region instead.
Ooh, I got this. Kaisyazdazar.
Kaisyazdazar!
It really was like this.
But yeah, so Frozen Zone coming up next. This is the first time we're going to get to see this one today, which will be kind of cool. As we venture forth into this PvP. Spawning here in the bottom. Oh my god, this map is gigantic. It did not do it justice in the preview. Holy cow!
Jesus, it is also extra, like,
This might be-
detailed. Like, look at the terrain in the mini map.
Yeah, okay, hang on. Let's do the intros. We'll explore. On the right bottom side of Frozen Zone, we've got the purple Protoss. It's Flipside Tactics puCK. What?
In the top left, as the red Protoss, it is Harstem.
So there's actually two things I want to talk about before we get too into this game, and especially to do with the maps. Number one being, it might be too detailed. And number two, to explain furthermore what I mean, a lot of the times maps get toned down and a lot of the doodads are cut out and the minimap has to be super simplified. Because Blizzard's endgame goals, they want anybody with like any computer to really be able to try and play at least, even on the lowest settings. So this looks fantastic to us here on high quality settings with our like super expensive computers. Already, just with the map detail and how much there is on the map, I worry that this would be automatically like cut severely.
The odd thing is that when you look at it, I guess it's not like it's not like blinding, right? It's like dash and terminal. But when the mini map is looked at, just all condensed, obviously, it's when you can see that there's a lot of terrain effects. So that absolutely could be a problem. It's also just, not just computer wise, but if it's so dark because there's too many effects on top of each other, like in some of these black spots, then like a purple army might not be very hard to notice, or more like importantly, like a purple warp prism on the minimap would be too hard to notice and stuff like that.
Well,
so that might be an issue.
So this is the map as well. I want to remind everybody, this is the 2-in-1 map. This is the map that would look different if they spawned in the other locations. So for example, if spawned up here, you would have a map that looks like Polar Night right off the bat, like very, very similar to that. But this is not the spawn we got. We got the other ones, and this is a very... I look at this, and like the third is already very interesting to look at. But the question comes down to fourths, and like, let's assume the map splits. These bases are all so very far apart, and in PvP, I think that's dangerous.
Well, if you look at just the bases, like, and you're just on this side of the map, I guess that's one thing to consider. But when you consider how the opponent is going to get there, I'm just looking, because we did get, there's going to be two versions of this map, basically, with this cross spawn and then the other cross spawn that exists, bottom left, top right. You're looking at this one, I guess you would just go kind of just through the middle, like, yeah, these adepts are doing, followed by, wait, that's a scouting probe. Okay, yeah.
Followed by the probe, but not the probe that you want.
Yeah, right? So it still takes a pretty long time to get over here, but I guess it is still pretty darn direct. So that third could be problematic, but the Stargate opener for puCK is a little bit surprising. It is a proxy Stargate, by the way, and you're really not going to be scouting the bottom left and top right.
I love this random mineral cart. But yeah, this is... I don't know, man. This map is so weird and daunting to look at, and it's just so big. This is where you would expect like the 40-minute games, the 5-minute games. But the overcharge gets popped right away on the adepts. That's actually not a bad thing, because it's one less overcharge for when the Oracle comes in. 4 Stalkers, though, can easily deal with an Oracle if they're in position to begin with.
Well, hopefully they are in position. It's already about halfway done. The Mothership Core... Well, yeah, she's not gonna have enough energy. Oh, this is... that's actually... This kind of started puCK's bad game, was losing the Mothership Core in that first one. So luckily saves it here. No overcharge to worry about. This Oracle should not do any damage. Cannon's just gonna be ready just in time for Harstem. As long as he's paying attention, which he is, it's good to go. Yep, not even any damage. I thought maybe he was gonna get one probe, but he didn't finish it off, so. Goes to the natural, nothing to be seen there. Harstem is absolutely totally prepared for this, and unfortunately puCK, bit of a waste for a proxy, but it wasn't entirely dedicated all in or anything like that, so he still got his Nexus up. He's only behind 2 probes. Unfortunately, Stargate tech doesn't lead to very much when it comes to PvP. Like, it's not your Immortals, it's not your Disruptors, or your Blink. But Revelation can certainly be helpful. The threat of these things always coming back when you're not paying attention can always be scary, especially if there's 2 of them, which there are.
I actually, again, just go back to how dauntingly large this map is. Revelation is one key element, but stasis traps might not be too bad either. Just because you literally cannot be everywhere at the same time. But they're gonna dive into the main. There's not a lot to get here. Overcharge does get popped. Stalker's sitting and looking at pressure inside the natural. They're hoping that Harstem is completely out of position, but Harstem's army supply is great enough that he is able to defend in both locations simultaneously.
Actually, you bring up stasis traps. There is some really good stasis trap usage from Neeb in a PvP for the past dream hacks, because they're so close together. So that could be really awesome to see. But I don't know if he's thinking about it. This is such a big damn map.
It is. I mean, like, just watching how long it took the probe to get across and scout was pretty massive in the first place, but all right, Oracle's paired up. They want to go in for some kills. Kind of hard to do with the Stalkers right there, but still manages to get about 2 or 3. Backs away, keeps them alive.
Okay, not bad. Blink is on the way for a Harstem, not yet for puCK. Oh, there it goes right there. And Harstem once again has that upgrade lead.
You know what I just realized, though, with the size of the map? Another big aspect of this that's really scary to think about is, let's say you are in one of those positions where you've moved out for the attack halfway on the map and you decide to come back home because you need the defending. Like, that's actually... That's going to be so long just to walk back home.
Yes, it is. It's been a while since I think we've seen like such a map with so many details too, which is really what's throwing me off. Looks like there might be a problem with the third base here.
I wonder what's caused this. This has actually been a problem for Avex, a very seasoned map maker, as well as a couple others in some of the more recent maps. I'm wondering what the deal is, but I guess okay, they're both equally cut out of the mineral scheme by one.
Actually, I don't know. It's probably just the perspective, but Harstem's doesn't look as bad as puCK's.
No, we had this happen on Detox for a while, and it didn't really affect the gameplay that much, like you would imagine. But hopefully, puCK wasn't just caught typing.
Right. So. Right. Like, both players were going to take that third regardless, so they're both going to have the same problem. On this map, I guess there could be some argument to be made for the other third, the one that's been beneath your main base, but obviously it's not as ideal. That's why they both took this map, or this base on this map, so...
What the hell's that arrow supposed to mean?
Mine from here to here. Don't mine from there
it's
to
like,
there.
You don't know where the minerals are? Okay, just follow the arrow, guys. It'll be real easy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is interesting. So they both got Blink, but Harstem goes very quickly into Charge instead of Disruptors. So puCK, he got that lead early on with Disruptors 2 last game, and he kept it until he lost all of it in like one bad fight, which kind of sucked. But this is going to be a completely different dynamic, obviously a very different composition from Harstem, and one that can certainly overwhelm, but generally if you can get up to enough Disruptors, then it'll be fine, actually. Like, the charge lots won't be able to really connect, and let us die in a blaze of glory. And gory.
Side blades of glory.
Didn't realize how much how good that worked.
Actually, side note, Blades of Glory was like one of my favorite terrible movies. Love that.
Never seen it, never will.
You don't want to see Will Ferrell ice skate, man? He's a champion.
I rarely want to see Will Ferrell, to be honest. Like, I barely watch any of his movies. I watched Talladega
Nights. That was the movie back in the day. Like, everyone was quoting it. It was pretty funny.
That just about, filled me up, on that
Brothers wasn't too bad, but I don't like John C. Reilly. But anyways, we're getting off on a tangent, guys. Stalkers are blinking around the map trying to take control of the watchtower, but what I'm kind of finding interesting, there's no real way to take advantage of the map with this situation. Like, look how big these ramps are. Look how the watchtower negates high ground. Like, this is really interesting.
He didn't mean to go for charge. I was really... Oh, that was a nice snipe. I was really curious, because then he started Disruptors about halfway through his charge, and I was like, oh, charge Disruptor?
Yeah, canceled.
Huh? He canceled at the very, last second, too.
Well, you know
it
what,
was
though?
almost done.
His upgrade leads are still looking good, though. So he didn't cancel the +2 or anything. Still up to 2-1, starts his +3 right away. We saw last game, by the way, a lot of the fights did force them to fight. We talked a lot about inside or out. You don't really get to pick, and you're kind of stuck with one or the other. This time, they'll be fighting a lot more head-on, and I'm wondering if that'll be a bit better for puCK, who was constantly caught, not knowing where to go to respond to Harstem.
That's a good point. We'll see how they actually engage when it's kind of like a literal even playing field. They're on the same ground and actually attacking into each other as opposed to around each other. I mean, we had Disruptor take a nice hit, but Harstem sniped one Disruptor, so it seems pretty even so far. Harstem is down a little bit in that army supply. The upgrades can play a huge part, but not as huge as Disruptors, which there's puCK getting revenge.
Yeah, that missed rally.
A bad rally.
Oh,
I don't know about this Harstem.
he was trying
Oh,
to
he
hope
can
to
move
catch
forward.
puck,
Oh,
and he
forward.
does! Great hits!
That was so dangerous. The observer was just a little bit farther ahead of the army. Puck could have tried to blink on top of it, but okay, all right, that might make him reconsider actually moving in here.
Stalkers do find their way to the south, by the way, while this goes on. Cannon and Photon overcharges look like they will defend, but 7 probes died while this went on. These got quite a few kills before responded to. Nicely down out of Harstem.
Very nice. Puck's still on a decent worker count, however. Is not looking too bad. Is falling behind on that 4th base timing, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to cancel it either. He is moving into the army as opposed to maybe going to the south and around. Maybe he could get some good service area there. But unfortunately, going up a ramp is probably not going to work. Starting to retreat a little bit. Nice revelation from the last living oracle. Oh, Jesus.
Well, we see a lot of shots getting fired, not a lot dying for it. But again, so much of this really still goes in the favor of Harstem. Expanding behind this, his upgrades looking better. Puck, once again, has not invested in upgrades whatsoever. So, or sorry, not whatsoever, as fast. So it's still going to always be like one behind until we get to the very, very late phases of the game.
Oh. Yeah. It is all about the disruptors for now, though. As you can see, they can have, just continual shots fired from the disruptors. They have so many. And with that, there's not like a super necessity to getting more. Puck at 8 is going actually up to 10, but it can still work.
I just realized, I think the Purification Nova, the attack here, I think that's actually the same model as the old Replicator, the one that the original Disruptor was used, and then they swapped it out, remember?
It's possible.
Anyways, Disruptor shot's going off. Harstem just took a pretty big hit on his Stalkers. The scary thing is, though, they are both notoriously starting to clump some of these Disruptor shots. And the same way in TvT, you don't want to drop tanks into already sieged tanks. You don't want to shoot your Disruptor shot off second. You can't cancel it, you can't walk away, you're just going to die.
Yeah, that's the important thing. You can't run away with the disruptors. So that was pretty dangerous from Puck, but he had in mind like the range of the disruptors, obviously, and he played pretty safe. Anything like this, though, like you're starting to shave off 1 or 2 disruptors, could be really, really big. They are both looking to take out all the disruptors, by the way. Like, taking out Blink Stalkers is good, especially if you get like a super duper good hit, but it's probably going to be replaced somewhat easily, as they're both on 4 bases and not doing a ton of damage to each other's economy. Actually, Puck expanding aggressively is kind of cool. I actually really like it, because he's been the one in control for a while, but that can easily go south if any of these disruptor hits go well.
It's almost mesmerizing watching these like go back and forth. It's like the little balls on that chain and like the office desk toy that click back and forth. Like
I know what I'm talking about.
Pick. Right now, one of the scary things really is like it's whoever gets that first really good hit is probably going to blink forward and force an engagement. So it's really important that like this really, as silly as this looks and as stalematingly dumb as this is not getting anything done, it's very important, and this fight matters so very purely. But while this goes on, Puck does segment some Stalkers to try and go north. He's going to try and sneak around Harstem's army, and I like those thoughts, but he did get caught.
Puck's also starting to, I think he's trying to snipe disruptors as he realizes the ball of disruptors is going pretty far forward, but he's losing like a handful of Stalkers here and there for it, so that's not going so well. I do like the option of just going somewhere else with even a part of your army, because it is all about the disruptors right now. Harstem has the same idea, but Puck, ideally is going to get these DTs involved as the Dark Shrine finishes up. He's also on his way to Stargate faster. A flip from last game.
It's really important Harstem brought his Immortals with him for this, but the scary thing is like if either player looks away for just a second, Puck loses a lot of his disruptors, but Harstem loses some of his as well.
Okay, well that was a surprisingly even trade.
Well, better for Harstem because defender's advantage and all that. Puck actually doesn't have a pylon immediately out here on the front line, so he blinks forward to pick off some of these disruptors. While this goes on, that hit force on the right side still goes forward. We got Stalkers and Immortals uncontested coming across the map. There's some Stalkers that were warped in at home.
DTs defensively should take care of this with the Stalkers as well. Puck is, this is the point where you're hoping to get someone distracted, though. Like, really take down all of their army with disruptors. But it looks like Puck is paying attention. He does open Zealots, actually, which are, I guess, equally helpful against the Immortals. So this is going to take care of.
The multitasking out of both players right now is so damn impressive. Harstem on the attack on both fronts, Puck defending equally well on both fronts. Now a lot of the focus shifts here to the middle part of the map where the disruptors have finally won out. There's no more disruptors for Puck. One now rallied forward.
Puck has a serious gas problem, so he can't replace the disruptors. I mean, yes, there's one really good disruptor hit that killed like 4 of puCK's disruptors, but the rest of them, I believe, has just been Harstem sniping with his Blink Stalkers, like sometimes dangerously when there's like 4 left over, but the last 2 were sniped, and that puts puCK in a very difficult position. I think only 1 has just been rallied in. No, 2 are rallied in.
Oh, but kind of a sneak attack with the high grass. It's kind of cool to see.
That's compared to 8 disruptors of Harstem, most of which are in his army, or all of them.
But the thing is, like, as great as these are, one good disruptor hit out of puCK could kill them all. Like, there's the potential for it. It's like it's the latest game banlings you've ever seen.
He just killed those 2 disruptors, though. Like, puCK is not doing a great job being a babysitter.
No, I like these DTs coming in, by the way. Revelation going to be very important because Stasis Ward's going down too. Not sure if he's realized DTs, so he does realize he's trying to use his own disruptors to shoot them down with splash damage. That's kind of cool. But puCK sets up a line of defense with those Stasis Wards where Harstem can't chase. Once he pushes this back, he cannot chase forward without triggering them.
Yeah, well, luckily puCK only gets the cannon, so Harstem's defense is still looking pretty good.
Oh, there's a Stasis trap.
Forward.
But he's got so many more stalkers behind this, it might not be that bad. If it almost works to be bait as he launches his own disruptors forward, taking out stalker chunks.
What's happening? What is even happening? Like, it
Protoss.
looks like some of puCK's army came from the back.
Where
Yeah,
did
a
the
couple of
zealots come
and stuff.
from?
I think that was like the reinforcements that were taking care of the run by.
Oh, man.
Weird.
That was such a sick fight on both sides. puCK, I really think, thought, oh, with half the army segmented out, I'll still win. But Harstem just had so many stalkers in the first place. Even with like a quarter of them removed, he still had more than puCK.
Yeah.
And again, upgrades. He's got armor upgrades over puCK, coming up on +2 in just a second's time.
Oh my god, he has a disruptor that's actually stuck. Okay, I've been wondering, I'll look, I'll see like 2 or 3 in this case of the disruptors for puCK, and I'll be like, okay, how many does he have? Actually, he has 5. They're either on the rally, because they are coming from the natural base, or there's one that's stuck there.
Yeah, the pylon. That
So
sucks.
that, I mean, I'm not saying that's like a big difference maker, but I wonder how many have been stuck and he's had, and actually had to like manually remove.
Well, then it is like lots of little things like that start building up over time and really screwing you. By the way, hilarious as he realizes where that proxy from earlier was.
Hey. Hello.
He can turn out a Void Ray, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Harstem's in a very, very good position. He's now up 20 army supply. He does not have the disruptor lead, despite being the one that's like, you know, usually sniping them. So that's kind of a little bit back in puCK's favor. His economy, though, let's look, actually. He has been winning for the most part. puCK's been taking back little bits here and there. But I still think Harstem has the momentum. In fact, puCK just walks into Harstem's army. That certainly helps.
That failed when move commanded.
Yeah. And Harstem has been up in those probes, of course. Whenever he expands, he immediately transfers a lot of workers, and he's starting to expand all over the place. This is actually like, making the map look very odd, since the attack paths aren't the expansion paths. So they're just kind of outlying and not really the point of contention for these army fights anymore.
What I really would like to see on this map, like first off, I love Blink Stalker Disruptor. It's the whole reason that inspired the Civil War tournament of PvP only. Love Blink Stalker Disruptor, okay? So not knocking this. But I would have been really curious to see how Phoenixes would have fared on this map. You consider the way the armies are moving and how big the map is, mobility being a key issue, even for Blink Stalkers to move around. Can you imagine Phoenix just going around the army?
That would have been very interesting to see, but I'm not sure that either player is really going to be looking towards those Phoenix wars. Because usually it's like a coincidence, right? Like they both go for Oracle, realize it, both go for Phoenix, and then that's when we start seeing Phoenix versus Phoenix. But maybe Harstem.
I think the one thing that has been the ultimate strategy on every Protoss versus Protoss has been like if you do get the Golden Armada, like Tempests and Carriers are straight up actually God mode. But this is not a map I think you would want to go for that on. You just simply could not maneuver that around. I
agree. Now, the back space of the natural and the main is kind of stupid. So in that way, maybe you got like a Tempest back there. But like every other way, there's nothing really advantageous about going for it. Now, in a PvP, it's less about, you know, it's more about like sniping the disruptors. So it's still probably an option for puCK, who did get the Stargate.
So while both players are great at multitasking, attack down here, DTs will defend. I just want to point out, puCK's also got a lot of idle workers as we were looking at his bases just now. There's so much focus on this front line, and rightfully so, that neither player's really had the opportunity to be perfectly played behind this. But Harstem, I've not seen a lot of mistakes out of. He's actually been playing this pretty damn solid.
He did lose a ton of probes like a minute ago, but he's replaced them pretty easily.
Oh, that was almost a good hit. You know what? I just want to point out, this is where the arm upgrades are really starting to kick in for Harstem. We're seeing these disruptors hard to focus down, and puCK's barely not killing some of them. Like, that +2 armor normally isn't that big of a factor, but it certainly is with upgrades in this game playing a deal.
You know, I am really surprised that puCK, especially, because I think he was the first one to get a second Stargate, of course, because he proxied one. Unfortunately, Sexus is going to go down. That he never tried to go for the Tempests. Again, they're not going to maneuver well around the map, so they're not going to be like, you know, snipers or, you know, they could be open to just Harstem running around them. But in situations like this, where they've been just tied at a specific point, pushing into each other, running away from each other, Tempest sniping could have been big, but I don't think he's ever had much of a bank. Harstem has just barely been getting banks. Oh, that was such a scary snipe. And they've both been stuck in this composition because they're trading out pretty consistently.
Yeah, I think, well, you know what's scary though? Considering, like, let's say this is the forever equal transition game. Well, it's not. It's a base trade, so never mind. Forget hypotheticals. They are going to dart across the map, but this is where, again, like, I think the plus armor upgrades are going to play a pretty big factor when it comes to Harstem pushing through this, because anything puck warps in won't be able to fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great point. But this is where they're really going to have to pay attention to their army. If they have two hotkeys, one for the Disruptors, one for the Blink Stalkers, or if they just blink forward a little too aggressively and their Disruptors left behind, and they don't pay attention, they could lose all of it. Like, this is going to get more and more hectic than
Disruptors!
They
just shy!
Just happened. Exactly. If any of them lose all the Disruptors, that'll be game.
Well, Harstem's coming back home, and I think he's going to be able to get to this point where he can almost just blink some of the Stalkers on top of this. He's a little bit hesitant, too, because he knows about the splash damage. And he doesn't want to give away that huge army supply lead. But with these extra bases he has on the map, it's not too bad to have taken the losses that he already has.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
puCK's still at 9 Disruptors,
It's
though.
reaching.
It's still very scary.
Oh!
Oh,
He
my
blinks
God.
forward!
Really
He dodges the shot! He splits the next two! Harstem on fire!
There's still a couple of Disruptors left. I think one of them might be off cooldown. No,
I
actually,
think he's
that's
got
the
it.
last
Just
one.
got to
He's gonna
focus
get
right on
targeted
the ones
down.
detonating.
He gets the hit.
That's it. Harstem now with Blink Stalkers versus Blink Stalkers with a massive army supply lead.
puCK has 3 Disruptors, and they're all back in that flipping natural. I realized.
He did
Finally.
kill the pylon, yeah. He's going to try and transfer up here. That probe could maybe stop the Stalker. I don't know, again, +2 armor. It's not going to go down very easily.
No, it's not. Okay, if Harstem thinks that he's taken out all of the Disruptors, maybe he walks up a ramp into the 3 that are remaining. That could be pretty big.
Macro's going to be too hard to stabilize. puCK actually has pretty much no income at this point. All the bases of mineral patches are gone. He's long-distance mining his only income right now.
That's true. puCK really has to kill the entire army in one fell swoop, or he's not going to win this game.
Oh,
and
the
actually,
Stalker didn't
his Blink
die!
Stalkers. Oh, well.
He killed the Nexus! He had 2 health! He pulled off the mine! Desperately so, but Harstem is going to take game number 2.
That was more important than seeing Blink Stalkers trap puCK.
Well, we'll see if puCK wants to go back to NA now or not. We're going to go to an ad break one way or the other because I have to run to the bathroom, so we'll see you guys here in just 2 minutes of game number 3. Alright guys, sorry about the ad screen bugged out, I guess, and played a little bit slower than normal, so that's why it was a bit longer than expected. We're getting into Shiva next. I need to disable mouse scrolling though. Shiva is a map made by to look it up, 1 sec. Oh, we still have emote only emote on. Awkward.
I was wondering.
I was like, why is everyone spamming? Oh, because emote only mode. Where is Shiva? I don't actually see. I don't know. Oh, there we go. By Izael. I think this guy he's made a map before for the ladder, actually. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Was it Echo or Coda or something like that?
Was he that guy?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that looks very familiar, actually.
Alright, so we're waiting on Harstem currently to join us. So the map is split into 3 different lanes. The bottom lane is a short rush distance and potential for aggressive expanding. The middle lane features destructible rocks and gives access to gold bases. I'll put this on screen for those who haven't seen it yet. So this is definitely an interesting looking map. Here, I'll square that off a bit for you guys. No, that's not what I wanted to happen. Ugh, it's to break everything. Alright, you know what? Screw the screen region. It's actually messing up my computer. But if you want to see the map, go to the Team Liquid map contest on Team Liquid. I actually really think I just fucked this up. God damn it. Why is this so difficult to maneuver? There we go. If you go to the Team Liquid map contest stuff, you can see all the maps listed over there. Looks like they're ready to go. We're gonna hop into Shiva Protoss. Pick, go. There we go. All right. So with Harstem now joining us, we get this started on. I guess Shiva's a weird name for this map because I hear Shiva and I know it's like an Indian god or something like that, but I think more like something cold. I don't really
Because
think...
of Final Fantasy.
Is it from Final Fantasy? I mean,
she's
played,
always
like...
the ice guardian force summon, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, because I was gonna say I've played like maybe 2 Final Fantasies, right? You've played all of them. I wouldn't know, but
She's very consistent.
cool. Well, point is, either way, this is gonna be an interesting one to see you play out as we continue on to the best of 9. It is game number 3, but leading 2 points. Now on the American server to give some preference to puCK. In the top left side, we've got the blue Protoss, Harstem.
On the bottom right, as the green Protoss, it's puCK.
So I am glad we're seeing a bit of map diversity. Harstem needing a bit of a pause. Oh yeah, so for those who don't know, really quick, this is kind of worth noting. Harstem actually, one of his accounts got locked or screwed up or something, so he was using a barcode and then I guess finally got a proper one, quote unquote, so he might not have had everything set properly coming to America. But anyways, the map layout... This is a bit of a trend we're seeing, and I'm not exactly opposed to this. We're seeing a lot of wider mains in some of the maps so far. I do not like the really small choked-in bases like Invader presented in the current season, last season.
So you mean bigger maps in general? Or bigger bases, sorry.
I like... there's like this problem, though, where it gets too big, and this is like borderline almost too big.
This one?
Yeah. Like, this is pretty nicely sized, but I'm just saying, like, if it was like even a little bit bigger, I'd think it was too big. How do I tell me he's not?
I'm magic. I can do it.
All right, there we go. Go. But anyways, the bases aren't so bad so far. We haven't seen anything too devastating. We even saw some Nidus Worms trying to take advantage of this stuff earlier without getting too out of hand. Your natural, though, very tiny. This is the contrast I was gonna make. Like, this is you really can't even build like anything here except a wall. Basically
a wall, yeah. I don't know. I thought the there was another map that we saw that had a much bigger main. But you're right. There's like been there's more big mains. Like everyone's avoiding the invader issue.
Oh, is this I think it's a collapsible tower. So you could actually knock this down, and really only have to worry about one. I guess this is what the map description was talking about. Like you got this tower that gives you access to the southern bases.
Wait, does it?
I'm pretty sure, isn't that a destructible tower?
But what would it destruct to?
No, but like you block off the ramp, so you don't have to worry about attacks down here.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yes, okay. For some reason, I was looking towards like the south, like it would block all the way down to that gas geyser. I was being dumb.
Bridge going this way. I mean, so the idea is that this map has 3 lanes. That was one of the big description selling points. And then if you knock down the rocks in the middle, and wow, I didn't realize there's a lot of rocks and destructible towers to make more rocks in the middle. Actually kind of reminds me a little bit about Terraform in that way, where it's initially not the fastest map, but if you open up the middle, it becomes a direct rush.
Mm-hmm.
But,
if this... Oh, I guess we never figured out if it was the guy that made Echo or Coda, or both.
I think it's Coda. Like, that just sounds familiar to me for some reason. It was definitely one of the two, for sure.
Then Coda always reminds me of Rock, so I'm not surprised. Like, this actually kind of... If we could identify map makers' styles, which I don't think we've never really been able to yet. I mean,
I came with Avex only because Avex likes to put more pretty things on his maps than anyone else.
Yeah, he's very like aesthetic. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. By the way, that probe totally glitched out. But other than that, like, no, I've never been like, this guy must have made blank because this looks so much like blank. I've never done that before. But I could see it for this guy and then Coda. Well, I might be totally wrong, so whatever. Is it gonna bug out again? Oh, fuck. I should have been watching.
Oh, sorry. Where did it bug out? I didn't see what you're talking about.
On the pillar on the top of the ramp, it kind of like bumped up.
Oh, like a little. Okay.
Yeah, you caught it initially. Maybe I'll just watch the delay very intently.
Yeah.
So
the stalkers, I saw it. It bumped over. Calm down. So.
No, I'm never gonna calm
down. I'm always gonna be rowdy. So we did have a Depths versus Stalkers come out, but I want to address something you asked in chat about the Corsair Cup. So, well, they're not sponsoring this tournament. Corsair are wonderful sponsors here on the channel, and the Corsair Cup is playing out. What we've done, though, is we've asked no admin to update brackets, nobody to update, and nobody to stream, and nobody to post results on Twitter. We're going to cast the semifinals and the finals from replays once we're done with this best of 9. So maybe it's another 5-0, maybe it's a 4-9 or 4-5, I don't know. But we'll be casting the rest of the Corsair Cup here on the channel. But as a side note, if you guys want to check out awesome Corsair gear, make sure to scroll below the channel, click on those links, all that good stuff.
Ew.
Shout outs to their headphones. I think we've probably sold more headphones for them than anything else because of just how like they are actually awesome. I'm like indifferent when it comes to mice. The keyboard's pretty good, but the headsets are the best.
It is the only thing that our viewers see for the most part. I know I've not convinced someone, but they took my recommendation for the guitar mouse pretty seriously and they bought it, so that was cool.
Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about that later. Double Stargate's coming up for Harstem. This will be interesting. So I talked about potentially seeing Phoenix last time, and I guess we might get to see it this game. Unless he's going full on hashtag Goblin and just goes like mass oracles.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But it's funny, you know, that again we mentioned the last game, like, okay, what about Phoenixes? And I was like, well, maybe Harstem would do it, because I don't think puCK would do it. I don't see too many Stargates, even though he proxied that last one.
So puCK is, in general, this guy who doesn't seem to like Stargate play, and I mean this more for the late game. I can't remember a game where I've ever seen him actually push towards carriers and Tempest comfortably, or at all. Whereas Harstem is a guy we've seen do every aspect of Protoss builds, in every regard. Like, whether it's cheesy, whether it's double Stargates, whether it's carriers later on and Tempest, like, you name it. We've cast hour-long games with Harstem. We've cast 5-minute games with Harstem.
In fact, that was a major problem of puCK versus Neeb. We cast one when that happened. Or no, sorry, not me and you, me and Pure Dragon. But then also last night, I believe that happened again, where he doesn't like Stargate at the end.
Dragon and I.
Okay, don't be salty because I didn't have to.
You're just jealous, Rifkin. You're just jealous.
Yeah, you're just jealous. Anywho, so that's gonna be interesting, and that's also going to shut down puCK's War Prism, no problem. Oh boy. That's not meant for greatness, you know?
No, but the Phoenix is going to reveal this, so he might not actually fly it in blindly. It might play a little bit more conservative, but Harstem really wants to make sure this doesn't get into Scout, and that alone is already, like, really worrisome. Did puCK see those with that hallucination? No. Neither of the Stargates revealed, so this Warp Prism is going to get picked off for Phoenix, not a problem. Or never, forget it.
Okay, well...
He definitely saw it. Like, look at that. It's in vision of where he just was.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem.
This may be on purpose. He may be going across the map saying, like, screw it. That War Prism's not going to do that much at this time anyways. He's probably got, like, at most 2 or 3 gates, which he can hold. So instead he goes across the map for Mothership Core pickoff, Probe pickoffs.
That might be a good point. I mean, it's such a scary thing to have a War Prism just there, though, like 4 Adepts possibly agreed. There. But...
oh, well, there's another bug. He jumped up on there to see.
Okay, the pillars have some serious issues.
Then he just like kind of, whoop, here I am, in your face.
Okay,
guess,
well,
if you're attacking a Stalker, you'd have to crouch down for its face, because it's right there.
So the Adepts from the War Prism, they get into the natural.
Yes, Stalkers are holding quite a few probe losses, more than should have been made available, but this is nothing that he can't manage, frankly.
No, but still, what could have been 0 probes and a dead War Prism and, you know, backfire of puCK's plan instead actually did something, anything. 8 probes is not too bad for 3 Adepts and a War Prism.
Oh, that's an awkward third to reach for, but he's going for it. It's really far away.
Yes. I mean, it's not the farthest I've ever seen a third base. In fact, it's in line with, like, Frozen Temple. The map I tried to make mistakenly earlier. So I don't think it's as bad as the other one. I guess the other one would be the gold base, potentially, which is to the left of puCK's natural. But Phoenix is getting here, get a little bit of scouting, although it's been pretty obvious what puCK's been doing, so scouting isn't too important. It really was just about killing probes. They get 7, but they lose most of their numbers, so that was not worth it.
I mean, we've seen instances too, players like Lilbao, Drogo, and others, they go like 20-something Phoenix and this game gets out of hand, even in a PvP, much less PvZ, where it's far more common. But having so little, he's not going to be able to dive in and crowd control much. He can lift up the Immortal and remove it from the fight, and potentially Disruptors later as well, but Harstem really doesn't... He's got a very meek-looking army, frankly.
It doesn't look too good. He's only down by, like, actually, he's not even really down in army supply, though, so this should be a fine hold.
It's kind of down in army type, though, right? Like, again, like, Phoenix are making up some of this army supply. Zealots aren't going to be that effective in this fight. In fact, not even on the front lines, so he gets stuck behind the Stalkers and force fields. The Immortal's going to go down. Harstem taking a really bad start to this fight, and let's not forget, he doesn't have really tech behind this either. No, Blink Stalker bugs out on that corner of the ramp. There's real problems with these ramps on this map.
Charge and +1 is pretty close to finishing, and if only it did, it would actually really help out against these stalkers. Unfortunately, he's losing a lot. Like, it was an even army supply, as you said, not very good army supply. Now it's just down by 20, and still with nothing that can really help out.
Overcharge is so far away. That really should have been on the front lines as he blinked away, but GG gets called, and looks like puCK will start bringing this back.
So back to Europe?
Ask Harstem, because if he's fine playing on East Coast, I mean... But he's a winner, and he's not here for our entertainment, so he should pick Europe, I would guess. Either way, guys, we're going to squeeze to another small break while we swap servers, I guess, and figure out this next map, so stick around. We'll see you guys in 2 minutes. So whenever Harstem says good, we'll get going into it. It is 2-1 if you guys are just joining us in this best of 9. And we may have a lot of casting ahead of us today. That's not a problem, but we do have 2 best of 3s and a best of 5 we'll be casting outside of this for that Corsair Cup we had mentioned before. Also, a little bit of an advertisement for arcade block stuff while we're waiting. If you guys scroll down below and click on that Sonic the Hedgehog, it'll take you to a website that'll give you cool stuff every month for a subscription. Now, we're not saying that you have to buy into that as in some sort of like odd, weird gamble for this risk board, but as a reward, one of the people who does purchase a subscription will actually get a chance to win the Risk board game signed by all the people we saw at DreamHack Austin, so be sure to check that out. I also have a tweet out there of the board itself. We took a picture. If one of the mods or one of our subscribers wants to go find that and link it in chat, that'd be hugely appreciated. It's just to show off what we're collecting towards. But anyways, it is game number 4. 2-1 lead in the bottom left side of the map. It is going to be the blue Protoss from Invasion Esports, Harstem.
In the top right, as the purple Protoss, it is puCK.
So Harstem says this looks really nice. Maybe he's got that Cloud Kingdom nostalgia.
Well, there was a time where Cloud Kingdom was definitely nice for Protoss, and then a time when it was definitely not, so I don't know what his feelings are for it. Because Cloud Kingdom was one of the maps that existed between Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm.
Well, they're discussing whether they like the naturals and the mains and whatnot. And I guess it is a fairly, again, large map. You got this weird blocking pathway, but it's got so many problems along the way. Rocks here, rocks there. You can open up a path here. So, I mean, the hallways are certainly a cool touch. And I feel like Protoss would be the one race, more so than Zerg and more so than Terran, that could take advantage of it. Walking the Zealots the long way around or sneaking a DT around the map into the natural base could really catch people off guard. Or not even always naturals, thirds, whatever. But the point of it still goes, like, this is something where I can see maybe in this particular matchup we get use of those hallways. Maybe.
I really think that the hallways will be used pretty equally from all races. So the Tasteless Secret Hallway in Zelnaga was so long ago. I mean, it's never really worth pointing out who used them and who didn't, because people were a lot worse then, and it was Wings of Liberty, except for the Dream Pool. So that's not too much, but there was a Pro League map that was replicated out of a Brood War map that had a similar hallway, but it was actually like you could also attack from it to a third, which was kind of stupid. But and like anyone could really use it, because walking Marines sometimes is better, or hiding your Hellion sometimes is better. But
yeah. So actually, I don't know why that just spurred this memory.
What?
But there's the balance patch, obviously, that happened today. We discussed that moments ago. But I just realized that crazy long game we played with BC and Lambo, had that played second instead of first, the Liberators would have been nerfed versus Corruptors.
Oh, jeez.
That could have been a very different game.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But I only bring this up again because also in chat, so at the same time, someone was asking about Immortals. And yeah, so the Immortal Barrier only absorbs 100 right now, live. So that's actually something weird that's in effect for this game. But you're not really going to see too much emphasis on Immortals. Like, again, Blink Stalkers and Disruptors or Air seem to be the 2 end-game compositions. But I guess early game, if it is like, okay, you've got that one Immortal churning out versus a Blink Stalker all in or something weird for that contain, maybe that's a situation where it comes into effect. But I really don't think we're going to see that be that big of a deal for this bringing it up. The other change for Protoss was the 10% Colossus attack speed, but you've all seen Colossus are not really part of the matchup right now, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah. We saw... Yesterday there was one, but I think you mistakenly made it. And then there was a couple created... Oh god, who did it too? I can't even remember. It's something that we cast. I want to say it was like Lilbao, but I can't recall. And it was it looked intentional. It got like 2 of them. So point is, people might experiment with Colossus, but there's not going to be any more reason to with this change. So
10% is
probably
just such a
standard.
non-important detail, I feel.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess you looked at the actual balance changes. They were exactly what they said they were going to be. I was looking at them. Of course, Frozen Temple now has removed watchtowers, but we don't have to worry about that either.
Yeah, map test tournament hype, all new maps, woo! I guess a quick reiteration too, again, shouting out to the map creator of this map, New Sunshine. I know later on in the week, we're going to have Avax, I think, on Wednesday. Join us on stream and talk about some of the maps and give his opinion as a map maker. I left an open invite on the Team Liquid thread, but literally none of the other map makers have contacted me, so it's a little disappointing. Regardless, though, this whole tournament, yes, it's got some money on the line and quite a bit, $4,000 in prizing, but also just to give you guys a better look at all the maps that could potentially be in the next season of the ladder pool. But some people are really confused on this, so I really want to drive it home once again, where there's only 7 maps on the ladder. They might even expand it to 9 in a crazy world, but there's 15 maps here. Not all of these are getting through without a doubt. In fact, I would be surprised if we saw more than 2 actually make it to influence in the next season ladder. But the idea is that now we get a good look at them. Map makers will have time to revise them and tweak them and give Blizzard their best possible version of the maps.
Yeah, definitely agree there. As cool as if there was like 6 fantastic maps that were just like these are the best maps in the world, Blizzard probably still wouldn't use all of them. I like to have old ones and of course ones that they made too.
I'm not a fan of cycling through the old ones though, because they just get picked all the time and repicked, and I would like to see like a whole fresh season, like kind of what they did a la Dreampool style.
There's multiple reasons to do that and to not do that, I suppose, but pay attention to this little push here that's going to try and abuse it, similar to what you would see in Cloud Kingdom.
Oh, the force fields are going to be so sick. puCK is going to just wreck this ramp, and Harstem's got no way to break that. He has no idea it's coming. The vision's not even there. He sees it too late.
Yeah, and that's going to be another warping, of course, because
that Immortal
overcharges, and Immortal might be able to take care of what is here, but more units on the way. The Sentry has to be very careful. Oh, the Warpers has to be careful.
Well, there's not a lot to shoot at. The barrier on the Immortal does get popped, but it's gone so quick. And again, that's the whole point. 200 health, 100 health, 7,000 health if it's gone in 2 seconds. Sometimes it's not the biggest deal in the world, but puCK really wants to fight, but he can't. Not with the overcharges there.
Yeah. They're almost out, though.
Yeah, there's like 1 more left.
And he is still warping in, so his army is still, trying to match that of Harstem's. But if Harstem's ever let up the ramp with the probes, with a second Immortal, I think he just takes the fight.
Oh, look at this second Blink micro. Link's now finished as well.
It's not enough, though.
No, I don't think it is. But I mean, for puCK, oh, okay, the Blink should come down. He didn't lose too much for this. Like, he's still got a national base up. He didn't do this off of 1 base. As long as he doesn't lose the army, I think he's perfectly fine recoiling. And Harstem, I mean, lost some probes, but that was a great defense to keep himself alive. Gonna try and make up for that difference with a 3rd coming down real quick, too.
It's like flower petal, ugh, at the 3rd base. Pretty.
What? Oh, you meant on the ground.
It's so pretty, isn't it? Yeah.
Sure, Zombie Grub. Why the hell not?
Sure, whatever. Anyway, so you're right, though.
It is reminiscent of Cloud Kingdom, but the ramp's in a bit of a different spot. I think this is actually a much better to defend ramp than the old one.
It is similar, but it's also just, it's not a complete replica. Like people are saying, it's just reskinned. I mean, the 4th base is entirely different location, because you remember that was like in like a little like low down to the left. Rocks are actually provided here, which kind of helps out. That's a big rock formation.
I think it's 2. Maybe it's 1?
It has to be 2.
Yeah. Well, it's only 1 on the minimap, so that's why I'm wondering.
That's a good point. I don't know. Well, maybe we'll see it. Well, it's so odd. It looks like you have to have high ground vision to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It's just 1 rock. Yeah. 1 really big rock.
That's a big rock. Well.
That's what they did was they buried a Nidus Worm and just put rocks on top of it. It's the gravesite.
No one will notice.
Yeah. So we do have not necessarily the hallway being used, but I really like that Harstem put a pylon over here to scout if it would be. I mean, the Warp Prism's certainly annoying, sure, but you don't want to have a bunch of zealots walk around the map and just not see them coming until it's way too late.
Yeah, puCK has taken a bit of a lead since that early attack, where he did have a probe advantage, still does, in fact, so it's split a little bit into the army. Once again, Harstem with much faster upgrades, though. I don't know what it is about puCK and his build choices, his decisions not to get upgrades. Not that I would never say in a PvP that that kills him, you know? Like, disruptors usually play way too big of a part to say that, but it's always been interesting choice for puCK, and he still hasn't even started it. Like, this is probably the latest his upgrades have been. Harstem does get into the natural... No, never mind. He just gets pushed away by a couple of photon overcharges. puCK's gonna tear down these rocks, but then he has to tear down even more. So, not quite there yet. And Harstem just realized what's going on. Oh no.
No, the warp prism getting picked off certainly sucks. The rocks opening up a potential engage path, not necessarily devastating right now, but this definitely presents a problem going forward because now Harstem has to defend in a couple different locations and not just one.
Oh, that's a very dangerous maneuver from that warp prism. Harstem does have blink himself.
There's DTs in this. I mean, I'm curious to see how he plans to use this. This cannon's already down. The main base is a little exposed, I suppose.
Well, he's going to back off for now. I think Harstem, yeah, he might be down 10 army supply, but of course he has those upgrades and just his control, defensive advantage should be a point that puCK can't actually break. Okay, free stalker was weird. Harstem is harassing a little bit with like a couple of stalkers at the top. That's a little annoying, but nothing too much. DTs, by the way, they were unloaded. And decided to go for that main base of the warp prism. They just, yeah, they walked around. They could kill the cannon.
Yep. I think realizing this too is going to focus it down. 3 DTs, all going to live through this disruptor shot. Going to try and chase these splits. 1 DT lives though.
Yeah, because it's a friendly probe. That kind of sucks. But there we go. Observer is here. Not doing that much damage. Didn't pull Harstem's army out of position. Nothing was really gained from that too much. And the worker damage was equalized by that stalker in the top, which is kind of silly.
I will say
another pair of rocks being broken down.
It is really cool seeing puCK be the one who gets aggressive, though, because this was him playing defensive for a lot of situations. That's so cool the way that lowers, by the way.
Whoa.
I'm in favor of that, dude, but that's another dumb face. Look at that.
Oh,
it's like,
God, stop.
It's like a fat bear face.
Stop. Anyways.
That's a fat human face with, like, Asian eyes. Okay, that's getting racist. Let's stop.
He was the more aggressive player in the last... Or the map before that, was it? Yeah, they've actually kind of been flipping between who's the more aggressive player and who's not. Like, Harstem was really aggressive on the first map, and puCK was on the second.
But this is what we talk about. Like, puCK really is good at PvP. We all know Harstem is. We see puCK so seldom. It's been unfortunate, but... Disruptor shot comes out of nowhere. Gets a pretty good hit.
Yeah,
a lot of disruptors here for Harstem.
Oh, wow, and then he kind of... not the best control there, but didn't lose so much, and he has more disruptors, so he feels pretty confident still. puCK is up 20 army supply, but, you know, disruptor counts pretty good. puCK's is starting to get his rallied over once more. Does he really... I guess he must rally them to the robo and then go back and grab them so they don't get misrallied in the middle of the map, because he once again has one back at home.
Oh, well...
That was weird.
I mean, killed the DT, but not both. That's unfortunate.
Okay.
Cannons will finish up in a second, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem to deal with. This, yeah, I mean, they're both still on 4 bases. Despite being under pressure this entire game, Harstem's kept a relatively good calm about this. The income wars have definitely been going in favor of puCK as we look at that graph really quick, getting away from that for the army fight. So, does money give him the advantage he needs? Once again, we find another situation where Harstem is up in upgrades, but this time by a pretty stark amount. It's going to be 3-1 for a small time.
Yeah, that's pretty big. By the way, didn't notice, puCK took his forward expansion, because of course his rocks weren't broken down, but Harstem took the one to the right because his rocks were broken down. That's kind of funny. puCK inadvertently helping his opponent choose, I suppose, which fourth base to take. And once again, Skull's in the middle of the map. Looks like the army supply has been evened up. Now we have a Mothership Core allowed to be involved here. So either for overcharges or maybe a time up will be okay in the situation.
Oh, 2 Immortals going down. That was a pretty nice hit, but there's still more disruption where that came from. And Harstem really contemplating just diving in for it. Has to move forward. Has to take a fight. Not going to be worth it, though, as he starts losing out on supply. puCK is also dying pretty quick, though. This gets a little bit awkward as both boys just going to splash each other down. But I think with the reinforcements on that front line, Warband should be better for Harstem to push puCK back home. But he's going to have to blink over this.
Oh, yeah, he needs to get a couple of the disruptors, though, since he did lose almost all of his own. That puts the difference at 7 for puCK to 2 for Harstem.
Oh, but look at this. Going to catch some more disruptors.
Oh, nice.
The stalkers that were segmented aside earlier for a run-by. Not going to obviously commit the run-by, but still good nonetheless. Double robos coming out to finish up here for Harstem and catch up to puCK's already 2 robo production.
I didn't even realize Harstem hadn't had it second robo, but that's pretty bad. He's gonna take a long time to catch up. Actually throwing down 2 robos, so triple robo production. I guess the chances are this game is going to go to 5 bases, maybe even 6.
Maybe he's clued into that cool new Colossus meta that literally just came out.
Right? Yeah, totally. So useful.
So that's what the problem with Colossus, right? Like, okay, they're big, they do damage, but they can't run away from disruptors. They're still gonna get killed by things. They're not an option, sadly, as much as I would like to see them. But what Harstem's trying to do and didn't get to pull off because of the fight was I like the idea of trying to get these stalkers around the map, sit behind the mineral line here on top of this cliff. You can kill a lot of probes. And I think what we cast so much more TVT than anything else, and ZVZ more so. Worker kills aren't that big of a deal there, but in PvP they certainly are.
Well, kind of free disruptor going down. That was nice for Harstem. Again, he has to catch up, and he's doing it very quickly now with triple robo production. 3 on the way will bring him up to 7 to 8. Harstem unfortunately hasn't been getting much harassment done, but I guess puCK's harassment has been like very good, so they're kind of even on that front. Oh,
Zombie
Jesus.
Girl, why would you cast a curse that?
I'm sorry, that was my bad. But it's still not enough to cause Harstem to, like, you know, tuck tail and run here. He still has his own disruptors.
If he was paying more attention, he would have got a big hit. But he gets nonetheless, a lot of the stalkers going up for puCK on that right side. One disruptor goes down for Harstem. But as he starts pulling back, both army supplies equalize once again. Yet Harstem with upgrades starts taking a lead.
Now going to have 3-1, in fact, again with those armor upgrades. That did play a surprisingly big part, you know, helping those disruptors like not die to that last hit.
He's also about to get up a base to his opponent if this 5th actually finishes up.
He's found a kind of very, very, very tiny harassment spot with a stalker. Kills 1 probe at a time.
Tiny,
eventually
like
gonna get
the
that gas
hands
guy.
of a stalker.
Oh, this could be. Oh, whoa. That could have been bad for puCK, but he just missed 3-4 disruptor shots.
Yeah, Harstem really could have brought this back. Now, this gets really scary because Harstem's armor supply dipped pretty heavily while this goes on. Disruptor shots still being so freaking scary. He's going to lose this base, and if he does, that's going to really put him in a tough bind. Up here in the top right, those stalkers have taken advantage of this situation, and both players are going to lose bases mining one way or the other. Whether it's through probe losses up here or whether it's through an actual base loss down here.
It's probably worth for Harstem to lose that base as opposed to trying to save it going up a ramp like he would have had to. But unfortunately, while he kills a lot of probes, he loses the rest of the stalkers he used to do that, thanks to a defensive DT.
Yeah, this is pretty trouble too. With the disruptor count still being in a bit of a shambles for Harstem, he can't really take a fight. He's bleeding out units still to each of these shots that puCK launches forward.
This looks like it's going to be game. 40 army supply for puCK. Down with the second Nexus.
I'd say most importantly, with those bases going down, Harstem just doesn't have the money to make 3 disruptors at a time. Like that triple robo was great to catch up when he had money for it, but now it's just minerals and gas he probably wishes he had built another disruptor with.
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure he can do enough with just 4 disruptors. He could get a really good hit on the disruptors.
Oh, well, speak of the devil! Jiminy Christmas!
Made up for it. Yay me. That's a good start, but Harstem's still down 30 army supply and 2 bases.
I think being the bases is probably the hardest part to look at. You could even be up army supply, and if you're down the bases, I'm still worried about the bases for that situation, but... it's the stalkers. Well, probes almost... What is this rally with the probes? What the fuck was that? The lot of stasis traps were placed down. He's going to try and push forward to clean them up. Accidentally walks on 1. This is big problems because he doesn't really have the army supply to afford losing stalkers like he did back on that one really, really big map.
Yes, I can't remember. Frozen something. Frozen Zone. Once again, missing the disruptor shots. I mean, if he got another one like he did a minute ago, that would be fantastic. Oh! Nope, not getting in. Then that would start the comeback, but his 4th still not on the way, and he is in a bit of a bind. If he loses his 3rd, there's no recovering from that.
Disruptor shots have really got to get some good ones. I will say puCK was starting to get a little complacent. Like we saw a lot of really aggressive blinks in situations I don't think you would have wanted to blink in. At least 3 different occasions this game where we saw Harstem, if he had just like pulled back the Purification Nova, maybe could have killed puCK. This kind of tells me a little bit something about Harstem's playstyle too. Like he probably just grabs the Nova and launches it, doesn't actually like dance around with it too much. Because if he had control over those Novas and pulled them back, he would have killed so many stalkers a long, long time ago.
I agree, yeah, there's definitely 1 or 2 scenarios where it could have been like 4 great disruptor shots, but it is pretty difficult to do, and if he's trying to focus on Blink Stalker, you know, sniping disruptors, then there's really no way to divert your focus like that. It's just too much to do. Well, Gateway's starting to go down to the DTs, it's annoying.
Yeah, I think Harstem's just bleeding out at this point. He's going to try to get the disruptors. He does kill all the disruptors. So maybe his upgrades can give him a fight, but this is going to be such a hard fight to take because puCK does have immortals in his army. He's going to back away. Despite that great chance for an engagement, he can't capitalize on it.
Yeah, if only he had like double the stalkers, of course, any of his own immortals. GG.
You know, I felt so good after getting that hit, but just so bad realizing it didn't matter.
Moral victory.
Yeah. Yep. So it looks like we'll stick on Europe. It's now 2-2, so a bit of a back and forth series. We'll go to a small break. We'll get this set up. I got to run and put some food in the microwave. Oh, I'm dying here. We'll see you guys in 2 minutes. Thanks for watching. But it is a best of 9, and it is tied up 2-2. Spawning here in the bottom left side of New Gettysburg. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be the red Protoss player, Harstem.
In the bottom right, as the purple Protoss, it's puCK.
So this map already gives us a really long, really fun game, and with the way Disruptors and Blinkstalkers go, this could be different, and a lot of that has to do with the terrain on the map, not just because of this weird, long, skinny bridge, but also going way around the north is going to be really hard to reinforce Disruptors to the front line from either player, attacking or defending. So this is a map where, despite this, I really want to see like Phoenix play.
Yeah, I'm just imagining them trying to force the bridge, you know?
Just disruptor shots like on this bridge.
It's so stupid.
Oh god.
I can't imagine this bridge being used after the 10-minute mark, I'll say. It just sounds impossible, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. And maybe they're both not looking for like many more long games. It's been mostly macro games.
Yeah.
For the past 4 maps, and to open up with as you said, Stargates might be their choice to try and get some early game damage, and then unfortunately and inevitably lead into those Phoenix Wars if they both decide on doing similar things. But puCK actually completely differs from Harstem, goes for a Nexus, realizing the advantage that putting down a single pylon would give him if Harstem tries to be aggressive.
Reminder, by the way, this map is made by the mapmaker Jackie, and while we've already seen one great game out, we may see another one here. I really would recommend you guys look at all the map makers on Team Liquid, because you've seen what happens when we don't get map makers involved and Blizzard comes out with maps. We end up with bullshit like what we saw here today, or this season. Excuse me, not today. Today's been great so far. Is Piling gonna impact mining? Did he just block his own simulator?
Yes, he did. I thought that was something I only do.
Okay, well.
You know, this is not a very good Protoss player. Maybe it doesn't affect it enough to really matter.
Maybe it helps speed it up.
I don't think that's true.
You know, they got the thing in the movies, right? Like, you use the gravitational pull of the moon to slingshot you over to Mars.
So, you go way out there.
I'm just saying, maybe. You don't know how strong these pylons are, dude.
Yeah, anyways. But I was going to say, there used to be a trick on one of the older maps. I believe that was used in, like, Pro League, right? Like, one of the really weird ones, where if you did build a certain way, then it would increase the mining, but I could not for the life of me tell you why. I'm sure that one guy in chat will know what I'm talking about. But...
Well, this weird thing you see, like, Tefl had that video about how if you patrol a marine to a mule, it mines more efficiently. Like, what's up with that? But pylons aren't done, so I don't actually know how easy this will be able to hold. Yeah, he's got to pull probes into it to make sure this doesn't get out of hand. Harstem's 2 stalkers are surprisingly dangerous, but he has also gone for air while this goes on, so we have the Oracle rally across the map. We'll see if it derps into this, because I think the rally for this should get it caught on the lip of this.
Oh, wow. Oh, I hope Harstem realizes it. You know, that could be attention to his Oracle, because that could be caught for a long time.
Well, in fairness, Harstem's actually had really great attention splitting so far this series. Like, always fighting in 2 locations and never seeming like he's gone AFK on 1. So, I'm sure he'll notice.
Okay, well, he's pushing in here. Obviously, he's going to be pushed back. You kind of need to use the overcharge and hope the Mothership Core stays at that front base while the Oracle dips out for a second. Not bad.
Okay, so it's got better AI than the Liberator. We already know that much.
Great. Yeah, great.
As it does head over to the main, though, will it... There's nothing here to defend. Oh, God.
Yeah, this is actually really nice. Harstem did a perfect job at the front, but puCK just did not think about this. So 5 probes immediately, maybe 6. Oh, this micro.
Should have been 6, 7. Could have been 8, actually, if this has been done better. But as this goes down, the pylon also going to fall now in the front. Waiting to... I think he was really hoping he'd burn an overcharge on that one, so he could just focus it down right away. But
right.
Nicely handled out of Harstem. Good damage so far, but nothing too game-ending and nothing too devastating yet. But enough probes to have, I guess, not quite a lead, but caught up. Two Oracle's not
Yes.
gonna try and make up that difference. Got to swim through the bottom of this very awkward map.
Of course, Harstem did like delay his Nexus for a very long time, so this was about
Oh,
first
it's an
and foremost
overcharge.
catching up. If the Oracles came in, they might be able to help just enough.
I know, I was
to
gonna say,
more
it might just kill all the stalkers. There's 2 in the main, but that's okay, because he's not gonna focus on the stalkers. Sick way to stack this, so the probes are gonna be harder to pick, but he did shift click a lot of them before that fight began, so he did get more probes. But that was a really cool defensive tactic out of puCK I've not seen anyone else use yet.
Oh, and Harstem thinks it's worth just losing the Oracle to get more probes too, so that's gonna be a total of
Oh,
20
man.
probes killed.
Yeah, down to 19 currently alive, 21 now. His expansion may have been later, but his damage was definitely worth it. And I think one of the scariest things is it's still got potential to do more. Like, he's building another Oracle.
Oh, well, that's that's well. If puCK takes more damage, that is, it's up to him. That's his fault, honestly. He underestimated the insistence on oracles, which is the first problem. He didn't expect 2, I'm guessing. He really thought it was only going to be the 1 and then using like a macro sense, and that's obviously a problem for him. He does have an immortal lead, but only for the next like 20 seconds, the time it'll take to get across the map to use it. So Harstem, he should just win this game. With 13 more probes, it's not reflecting the army supply yet, but it will soon. And defensive advantage is pretty damn strong.
Yeah, he had built a pylon and canceled it, and the funny thing is, like, the pylon really wouldn't have held, not against an immortal, so it's better to get a sentry out. This will be able to warp it for or block off for some time, but that warp prism threatens to possibly carry things over it, so he does bring some of the stalkers to the side. Guardian Shield may be better in this situation. Does blink, or not have blink, excuse me. This is a warp prism pickup. I always think it looks like blink. Immortal fights in range of the other immortal, so it gets a little bit awkward as he starts abandoning this on the front line. Oh no! Oh no! Not for free, at least. Get some damage for it. Keeps the Immortal alive. We'll see if Barrier gets time to come off cooldown up. But Oracle goes on the other side of the map while this goes on. Does miss control because he's focused on his defense at home, so he gets only 3 probe kills. Only 3.
Yeah, that's not very worth the Oracle, but the previous ones did enough. So it still is up to puCK to break through this. I think a bad engagement to begin with, but still another, probably 2 overcharges to get through. So this records almost at 100 energy. I just can't see him breaking it. Well, bit of a lull here, I guess. puCK, and try and get as much as he can. A force field or 2 could be pretty important. Maybe getting another immortal.
Yeah. This is, by the way, something I really didn't expect puCK to be able to recover off of so well. Like, that was a lot of damage done, and they've both been consistently producing probes. The difference being that Harstem now is kind of stopped in all forms of aggression. That lets puCK just flourish behind it. But I guess the gases were a little bit late because of all this. So his mineral income has been great, but his gas income's been lacking.
Yeah, that's true. Low supply blocked right now as well, not helping, but maybe containing is just enough. He's getting a 3rd base. He's almost caught up with probes, and the army supply is still even.
Yeah, that 3rd's gonna be what really changes things up. I guess, we're talking about like King Colossus come back into this, and maybe in rare situations like this where force fields are killing you more than anything else, the Colossus wouldn't be too bad.
I mean, actually, yeah. as long as you can get it to do its consistent damage, its biggest benefit, then sure. But if Disruptor comes in, then that's
I
for sure.
really think Hallucinated Archon should be able to break them, though, to be honest.
Break force fields?
Yeah. They're still massive units, they're just hallucinations.
Okay, as a Terran player, you're really just going to be so eager to give other people more options to break force fields.
I just think it'd be cool to see a dynamic of hallucinations be more important than just like cool sometimes units. But anyways, the Barrier gets picked up, Broken, Immortal get picked up. Both of them are microing around the Warp Prism pretty well, actually. But Harstem's taking a better fight because his Immortals are getting better and more shots in. puCK unfortunately starting to lose a lot of his steam with his army, and if he loses too much of his army, a counterattack will be imminent. Now doubling the army supply, Harstem could just push in the middle of the map.
Wow, that actually went so damn well for Harstem.
Oh, and the Warp Prism
Harstem's
turns
out
out.
of control.
No! This has the Immortal in it too!
That is so serious. That is so serious.
They really need to fix the AI to make something like this work. I think the idea of the island bases is so sick. It's just unfortunate that the execution so far has been like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised there's the blink. Goes forward, catches the mothership core. It's going to be a bit of a time warp, but that's not going to stop him. 3rd base is vulnerable. He might just go for a freebie on the 3rd and then push into the natural, but right now would be the timing for Harstem. He's got +1 upgrades in his favor. He's got an army supply lead.
This is snowball supply lead too. He's got the upgrade lead. I mean, okay. Oh, actually, no, he even has the blink lead. Never mind, I thought that was Harstem making him blink, but it's puCK, so I don't know what puCK can really do. His Warp Prism could maybe go and try and do some counter damage, but of course Harstem left his Moisture Core at home, so there'd be that at least.
There's like two giant aspects of this. Like before, puCK had a soft contain because he couldn't really fight Harstem, but he didn't want to let Harstem expand. Harstem's got much more of a, we'll say, a hard contain, but his army's pretty battered and weak. So the Immortals, for example, could be focused on very quickly. I actually don't think for him to be worth the contain aspect. Loop-de-loops. Warp Prism derping out again down here.
Yeah, a little bit.
puCK's got to be on tilt. I'd be on tilt. Like this is a stupid map.
It's increasingly more and more annoying. So that is messing with his plans a little bit. Of course, in his defense, which even if he had the Warp Prism, it would not have saved that third base. But more on the offense, looks like he's like, just you know what, F you map. I'm finally going to use your advantage, and he does send a probe over to the base to build a Nexus.
I like it because Harstem can't pressure that the same way he could kill this third. And Harstem may not be thinking about this either because island bases have literally not been a thing. Like no map has ever featured a situation where you could actually take an island base viably like you can on this map. Oh, that's awkward.
In some situations, it may even be the most obvious third, but or fourth. And that could be problematic. Harstem is not moving his Warp Prism. He's not. Any observers that go through the map are probably going to go through the bridge more than the super bottom side.
Oh, what's cool? Like the hallucinations on like Phoenix and stuff probably won't even go around there to scout.
Yeah, that's true too. Well, puCK is definitely in a bad spot. Of course, he saw the third base and knows that, okay, I'm getting a third base now, but it is obviously still later, and it's also secret, so I have to make sure my Warp Prism sends the probes over there, and that might take away from Micro on the defense. Looks like Harstem actually had an idea here, so he's trying to scout it.
Recall
bad a little bit.
That's kind of cool to see.
So if he keeps the mothership there, though...
Oh, he's just gonna... He could have potentially just gone with the warp in, but I think he realized too, like, yeah, the Mothership 4 was out of position. Sentries get caught out of Harstem, kind of awkward as he does force out this fight, but the Disruptor shot should be good. I mean, let's not forget, only one person has Disruptors in this fight.
Yeah. 3 Disruptors too, and more rallied through the middle of the map. It's not really a problem if the third base does flourish for puCK. If his army cannot hold in this natural upgrade, still definitely in favor of Harstem as well. Disruptor's gonna get another hit on these Immortals.
Yeah, with only the one Disruptor in play, if Harstem just blinks in almost, we're at this point where like it's a little bit more complicated than A moving, but basically A moving.
A little bit more complicated? A little.
Yeah.
That Disruptor is not going to be able to get a hit off, and puCK is going to lose here. Even with that Disruptor getting a hit, doesn't matter.
It's really cool to take. I'm glad we did see somebody take the island base, especially considering this situation was best presented to take an island base. But GG's going to get called, and Harstem will reclaim his lead in the series 3-2.
First to 5 is still a very long way to go.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of these PvPs have been slower because of the maps being picked. They kind of let you go that direction, but as we start with some of them having been vetoed, the ones that are remaining, if I remember looking, some of them were the smaller ones that were left. So I don't know. We'll see what the picks are. I hope we see Namaste again, to be honest, but I would also really like to see Paladino Terminal.
Yeah, the one that we haven't seen, or the 2 we haven't seen.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to go back to the North American server, so while we swap and set up commercials, we'll see you guys soon. Of course, emphasis for me would be if you guys visit the Corsair site. As today's, like, kind of it's like half Team Liquid Map Contest, half Corsair Cup. We'll be casting those semifinals and the finals of the Corsair Cup after this, but in the bottom left of Annihilation Station, okay, the map really reminds me of like some of the Starbow maps we got to see, which I enjoyed actually. In the bottom left is going to be the blue Protoss player, Harstem.
In the top right, as the green Protoss, it's puCK.
So between these two players.
Yeah.
Oh, there's like a lighting bug here. That's already really annoying to me. Between these two players, you're trapped on a desert island. Which of these two do you bring with you?
Harstem.
Why Harstem?
Because I know him better.
Oh, okay. But then puCK's like the mystery box. And you always got to pick the mystery box.
No, I don't. Not when it comes to humans.
Human with a giant question mark on him? You're not just a little bit curious why he's got a giant question mark on him?
No.
Maybe he'll be like Daniel Radcliffe in that weird movie's coming out where he's like
I've gone to enough anime conventions that usually a man with a question mark on him is not good news.
Are you saying that Jim Carrey as the Riddler was bad news?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Jeez,
well,
I remember that.
quick
But
looks at the map. Oh,
Well, you get the answer to the same question. That's not fair.
you didn't ask me a question, but I'll answer it after because I want to quickly just to go for a tour of the map before we get too far into things because the natural base looks pretty normal. There really is nothing alarming main and natural. I like the size of the main. I think the natural is fine as well. The chokes. I see potential problems with air, but there's enough space behind this. You can put spore crawlers or cannons or turrets. Liberators shouldn't be a problem. But the questions really come forward now with the third. This one's not so easily defended. Just look at the space behind the mineral patches, which is good. 2 thumbs up on that. But depending on which third or fourth you even take, then the question of a fifth becomes really far out there. There's rocks that could cut you off. There's rocks that could actually lock you in. I'm sorry, I was seeing what's going on over here. But your fifth either down here or way up here. Why are there numbers? What is 18, 32? 50?
What's the natural?
What are these points? 8?
I guess they're points. Yes, they're points.
This is the 8 o'clock position?
No, is it the 50 position?
This is the 18 o'clock position? I don't know the 24-hour European clock. Are you kidding me?
You don't know the 24-hour.
32? I mean, these don't even double
Clock.
properly. It should be a 16. I mean, they go by multiples of 8. No, they don't. That's the 18, so I don't even know.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. There's nothing makes sense here.
This is like
So,
that.
there's numbers.
Yeah, I guess the map maker just really likes numbers. Cool. Oh,
Yep.
there's a bit of smoke in the middle of the map too, so they'll make engagements a little bit fickle. High ground vision is still going to be very important.
That's a little interesting. We do have a bit of aggression. I mean, both parties really were setting up for aggression. It's just that Harstem was able to scout, I believe. That is, the stalkers are on the way. Oh, the second ramp though. Psych. Ha ha ha. Yeah.
Might be able to fight, but I don't know how much you'll be able to go in here. And in fact, Harstem not
Well,
paying attention for just a second. Already
yeah,
needs a bad start to
Harstem-
this fight.
Did not see the 2 stalkers. He just prepped for what could have been, and unfortunately, he didn't really. I guess he just didn't expect puCK to go to the bottom and go up, so that was a little funny. Not too big of a deal though, and they both expand. puCK's rallying the stalkers, but he really can't do very much against a photon overcharge once the pylon's set up.
Okay, so you gonna ask me?
Yeah, same
What?
question you asked me.
No, you have to actually ask me though. It's no fun if you don't ask me.
That doesn't make any sense. On a desert island, who do you choose to bring with you, puCK or Harstem?
puCK.
Why?
Because Harstem will have drained his phone's battery using Tinder, whereas puCK may have battery power on his, allowing me to then call for help.
Why don't you have a phone?
Because it got damaged in the plane crash, or shipwreck, or whatever ended up getting us on that
See,
island.
I think we're gonna be without phones because we would have been in the water, probably.
Oh, so it's
And-
just like straight up, like you're on the island, you're both in your nudies, like that's it, that's all you got.
Well, it doesn't be the nude.
The skin on your back's all you got on
You
the
don't have any
island.
technology because you're in the water and nothing's waterproof, unless you have that fancy new phone, I guess.
Ooga,
But
ooga.
anyway, so and Harstem, he's pretty tall, right? He could help get the coconuts and stuff.
Coconuts? What sort of fantasy island is this where you're just like casually sipping back on like coconut milk and like your straw chairs on the beach?
Casual. Did
Like,
you ever watch Castaway? It's like the first thing he ended up eating, and then he didn't realize it was a laxative.
Wilson!
Did you ever watch?
Yeah, it's just so long ago. I actually forgot about that entirely.
Yeah. So I mean, we're gonna eat them sparingly.
So what?
but-
I was gonna say, what? You just want to poop everywhere? Like, what's the
No,
plan
it's
with that? Like,
sparingly.
Harstem, help me with the
We're gonna use-
laxatives, please.
They're gonna be very useful.
I would actually not take Harstem because Harstem would, if it got dire, be able to overpower me, kill me, and eat me. Whereas I think I could take on puCK.
Really? You think both of them? You think you couldn't take on Harstem? That's interesting.
I think Harstem would kick my butt in a real fight.
I think he's muscular, but he's so skinny.
So is Tempo, but Tempo's strong as hell, man.
That's
Tempo's
true,
scary
man.
as hell.
Tempo's super strong. Anyway,
Actually, I want Tempo to be on the island with me. He'll take care of me. He won't eat
I
me.
agree. Let's all choose Tempo instead.
Okay, anyways, puCK is starting to get in here with a bit of pressure. I like the warp prism heading towards the main. A couple of adepts will get cleaned up by an overcharge, but if handled correctly, could pose a long-lasting threat. In fact, there we go, picks up and stays alive. Blink on the way for both. The timing's pretty close, but a little bit better for puCK.
Yeah. There's actually a game going on too. Right. So Harstem, yeah. What is with this upgrade lead? Oh. Okay. I got excited for like a second because puCK was putting down 2 forges, and I was like, oh, is he finally gonna get the upgrade lead? But no, double forge is pretty rare in PvP.
I would say it's out of the question. It's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, you're not gonna have the gas to afford those upgrades if you're building sentries and stalkers and immortals constantly, and then of course disruptors and such later on. But I am more surprised. Here we are in game 6 of a PvP, and still no real Phoenix play. Like, we had a little bit of Phoenixes earlier, but no real Phoenix dedication, no air wars, and those have been somewhat, I would say, more common than even Blink Stalker Disruptor in a lot of the things we've been casting recently, and even been watching up on the big screens. But regardless of Phoenix play or not, I will say both players have displayed tremendous control over Blank Stalkers and Disruptors, the ability to hit each other in the back while those goes on. I mean, the score alone should tell you, like, yeah, these guys know how to play PvP. This isn't some one-sided match.
Which is really nice, because what we saw with TVZ, I wouldn't blame either of the players for being better than the other or anything like that, but it just, Terrans are really abusing, spots left and right. So, nice thing about mirror matchups, unless one person can really just, look a little bit harder and think a bit more, they're not going to find that same abuse. But alright, real engagement going down? Maybe?
Yo! No, more important, I see Mevis in chat. Mevis, what is up with these numbers, man? Mevis is the map maker, guys. Make sure to give him a hi and hello in chat. But what is up with the numbers, dude? Now I feel like this is a desert.
A whole new world for the ninth time.
Look,
Okay.
I'm enjoying seeing a lot of new maps played, okay? Don't take that from me. Don't ruin this with your weird pessimisms.
It's so pessimistic.
But okay, it's tied up now 3-3 as we get into map number 7. We're guesstimating how long a best of 9 would take. The ballpark was like an hour and a half to 2 hours, so we're kind of still par for the course on that. The first one was, of course, much faster, but spawning in the top left side of Paladino Terminal, I'm not sure if that's sarcastic or true, it's going to be puCK.
Right? I don't know. In the bottom right, as the red Protoss, he is Harstem.
Alright, looks broken though. Well, first off, we talked about mains being too big. Here we are back on Heavy Rain, circa 2013
Oh, Jesus.
or whatever.
You have like 5 supply depots to cover everything.
I don't like this here at all, to be honest. I think it's a cool aspect.
Oh.
And I like the idea behind it. I just don't actually like it in practice.
Really? Because I feel like that's been out of fashion since the first map introduced it.
Yeah.
What map was that? Tal'Darim?
It was one of the really, really big ones from back at the start of Wings. I remember these two because they were on, is that 4-player, Metalopolis? The really small 4-player thing?
Oh, you're right. Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. Whichever the smaller one is, I can never remember myself.
Yeah. People are asking us what our favorite maps are so far in the map contest. We haven't even seen them all, so I can't give you an answer. Ask me in a couple days of casting, I'll probably have a better answer. I think right now, though, if I had to give an answer right now, New Gettysburg, just because it's the coolest, I think, the most innovative. But that's not meaning it's the best. Anyways, quick looks at these bases. I mean, your natural base has a bit of dash and terminal going on here, where you have 2 entrances. I don't like that because again,
So
with it
basically,
being a very short rush distance.
they took every aspect of maps we don't like.
Yeah.
Double entrances into the natural, fog in your base, and a short rush distance, and they put it into a map.
Yeah.
Oh, and a big main base where you can't cover everything with a pylon. Great.
I'm actually really sad now that Bly's the one playing the ZVZ. But we keep referencing him because we really don't know anyone more aggressive than him. But I think him on a map like this would be hilarious to show how abusive this could be. And I just, the reason I really don't like the double things is because it doesn't even wall off conducively to this ramp. If the natural base wasn't so far from the ramp, again, another problem here, it's too far away to wall off properly anywhere. Like on other maps where you've had terrible naturals, Foxtrot Labs, for example, and some others, you could at least wall, say, the Nexus with a couple pylons and a gateway to the ramp. You cannot do that here.
Well, there's a lot of things that make this for an aggressive map, obviously. So the fact that they're going for an aggressive opener with at least 2 gateways is not surprising at all. You're going to need at least a couple of units before you defend, at the very least, because of those pylon issues. So Harstem is looking for a Nexus. Unfortunately, puCK.
Cyber Owls? Hang on, there's a fight going on there. I'm looking over here, though. It's Cyber Owls SCV Repair. Cool.
Oh, like owl, like the name, not an owl. Like
Oh, you know what would be cool? That'd be like, this would be like such a not ladder map thing to do. But have like repair stations. I know that in the past people talked about having like little healing spots, right? Like you could pick up a health pack or something in one part of the map.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool if this was like a repair station or something. Like you put stalkers underneath, and it'd be very slow repair, but it could get repaired for free.
So who do you think would have realized they could be repaired by an SCV first? Terran engineers or Protoss? So there's a Protoss walk into a repair station and is like, repair me, and the SCV's like,
Oh, now are we talking realistic situations or like players playing the game situations? Because
campaign. Like realistic, like the story.
then I think a stalker walks in desperately and says, "Can you repair me?" Or they're on the front lines and an SCV does everything he can to save his friend and like, okay, save your friend. But I think in StarCraft 2, it'd be more like, "Oh, I had auto repair on. Did I just repair you? Yeah, I think you did. Oh, sweet!" Like,
That's pretty apt, isn't it?
that's how it goes to most of my 2v2 experiences. I'm like, "Come here, I can repair your stock," and they're like, "Wait, you can do that? Cool."
I really liked the budding story, by the way, of the Stalker and the SCV that were friends on the same front lines.
Fighting off the horde of Zerg that's coming their way.
Oh, it's like we're mixing stories here.
Warcraft 4, Orcs in Space.
Hey, do you think they'll announce Warcraft 4 at BlizzCon as like
No.
the thing to announce?
No, because you know what they need to do? Just cash in on Overwatch and do nothing else for 10 years.
You can cash in on more than two things.
No, I would really love, as cool as it would be, I would love to see them pay more attention to the great games they already have than try and pump out new things.
Yeah, okay. I think Warcraft 4 is going to be announced next BlizzCon.
I mean,
Timestamp, VOD.
Are they working on a Warcraft 4? I mean, it'd be certainly
Timestamp.
cool. I would be hyped for it. I love the aspect of the hero fights. I know I've tuned into almost every Roddy/Todd/Grubby Warcraft stream. Like, I like Warcraft. But
You think I would have more confirmed information than you? I mean, I just heard rumors, bro.
Obviously, I'm not asking you. It's more rhetorical than anything else. But I'm just saying, like, it would be cool. I just think unlikely right now, especially for this BlizzCon.
What?
I think at this BlizzCon they announced like another 3 Hearthstone expansions. Warcraft arenas. No, I don't know. I have no idea.
I was like, where are you going with this? Is this a joke? Is this like you were looking at the wrong esports? Or anyway, Wombo combo a little bit with puCK here. He's got army coming into the front as well as these little dips in the back, but really not big enough on either side to be scary for Harstem. So
Yeah.
it's easy.
I mean, so we talked a lot about this double entrance to the natural. This is something that is going to affect other matchups more than a PvP for certain. But this Warp Prism becomes really problematic because Harstem machine, you can't even just like dive in and kill it. You actually have to get vision through that smoke. So puCK runs away easier and possibly warps in sneaky. Like, I'm actually really surprised we don't have a pylon behind this because exactly of this move.
This is. I mean, I remember this being so annoying back when it existed on whatever that map was.
Yeah, but those were also like 4 grid spaces big. This is like a huge chunk. Like, puCK could actually probably bring his own pylon, bring it through a Warp Prism, build cannons behind it. Like, there's just so much space to build in there.
Yeah, there is. I think there might have been one other map with something like this, but even that was not as big. This is a
you know
huge
what?
option.
What would be really sick would be to have something like this set up, not on the edge of the base, right? But like somewhere over here more conducive to the way you would build. And then have it as, like, if you want to hide buildings for building, a Ling Scout might not actually see it.
I feel like that was the original intention of these.
Maybe.
It'd be cool to hide a building. Nah, man, it'd be cool if you could just attack and they wouldn't notice.
Yeah, but in the original version, you could only really put like a turret in there. There wasn't really a lot you could fit in. This map, you could.
You could fit a lot of things in this map. I actually can't remember what you could fit back then. Okay, that was just too easy of one. You really shouldn't have gone for it.
I was like, I think 2 years shy of
That's
just
what
also
he
throwing in
said.
a "was that" with that joke.
Yeah.
But okay, middle of the map's a little bit too scary. This is like one force field right here. It completely blocks it off. So there's just no way either player's really going to want to push through that. That's why the rocks are going down, because they need alternative paths to actually get through the map.
Yeah. Really, this is a... Oddly enough, it's more of a macro map when it gets to the mid-game. Because, well, like... Oh, hey!
New
Yay!
supplement, new supplement.
Tiered.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you're getting mad at me if I kept doing that. Tier Guard, thank you for subscribing to the channel, though. And thank you to all the resubs that we've been missing, because we're terrible streamers. Thank you for supporting our terrible habits.
Yes, thank you. Like, meth. Anyway.
You do math? On stream?
No, never. Never. That should be a shirt, man. It's like the drug or the DARE program. The drug program. It's like the DARE program, but it's don't do math on stream.
That'd be a good shirt. I'd buy that shirt. No, it
I
wouldn't.
could make a shirt like that. I could make millions. I could make
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars.
Shut up, guys. You heard it here first. It's our idea.
Yeah. Shut up.
Force Field's coming down trying to catch the Immortals, but the War Prism barely escapes twice now with him. Harstem's going to try and save his own Immortal out of that Force Field. Oh my god, what is this? There's so many Force Fields on the map right now.
How did that Immortal even live?
I don't know, but
thank
it
God
did.
the War Prism was there to pick it up.
Maybe
Dear
not for
God.
longer, though. This is getting a little bit dicey. Harstem's the one with the upgrade leads in this situation, but look at those numbers just dwindling on both sides. Stalker count's getting annihilated. No Guardian Shields, just Force Fields popping off, and Harstem takes a big lead now. 2-1 in the army supply, 26 to 38. It's getting a little bit better for puCK to manage, but Defender's advantage, can it actually beat this out?
I don't know. These look random, but I think he thought the attack would be over here, so the pylons are a
Disruptor.
little weird.
There we go.
That is
That'll
only
structure.
one disruptor, though. Harstem can still push in, and it's going to be a little bit risky because there might be two.
It's not
And he
the cat.
does. Very nice.
Push in?
Push
Something
in?
like that?
What?
It's a big cat.
Poutine?
No, push in.
Pushin?
Push in.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Your references are lost on me most of the time.
Well, in fairness, you didn't figure out emojis for like 2 years of owning your phone, so I guess...
You didn't figure it out
expected.
either.
Well, I didn't try to. I just trolled you. This is different.
Hey, yeah, exactly. So
I
he's the
just
asshole.
Whoa. Alright, Stalkers are going to take a pretty big hit from that Disruptor. The Immortal count looking better for puCK now, and Harstem may be the one who's over-dedicating by staying on this side of the field.
I'd say so. The Immortals really chunked through those Stalkers very, very quickly. So he is now the one that is at a very, very
Oh,
low
he can't
army
get these
supply.
out? Oh, he's got it. There we go. He didn't have vision to blink up. This
There
is
you go.
actually a terrible place to get stuck in.
Harstem does expand quicker, so given time, he will be able to get that army supply back up. But with the rocks being broken down, now alternate pathways are available. It is back to being a very quick rush from one point to the other, and puCK should be taking advantage of his great fight not seconds ago.
Oh, this is kind of cool, having the Disruptors possibly hidden, not letting your opponent know just how many there are. I mean, puCK could guess, but that's dangerous.
It literally says, "Do not enter." You guys suck.
Where? Oh, right there.
Duh.
Shut up.
Anywho, so it looks like Harstem's third base might just go down here.
Well,
No,
the
actually,
probes
puCK
on
doesn't
the
want to go down
fourth.
there.
Uh-oh. Yeah, if puCK goes down, he gets trapped, and that won't be good.
Yeah, that is actually an interesting feature about that third base. There's no exit strategy if you're pushing into it. So there's not really an exit strategy for pushing into the fourth either. He's going to get trapped in a choke potentially. I mean, at the very least, kill it. You're there. You've already pushed in. Kill the fourth. But Harstem should probably be waiting at that choke to catch him on their retreat.
Oh, that stream delay talk about math. Yeah, math amphetamines, guys. It's that thing you do where you just take a lot of numbers, put them in a spoon and melt
Inject
them.
them.
Yeah. Things go pretty
Oh, he
basic.
could take this fight. Disruptors have to get decent hits on the Immortals, and then maybe the Stalkers
Yeah.
can take everything else.
Well, if Harstem does a bit of a contain, like, yes, the army gets stranded, but it also takes his army out of the fight as well. And if puCK starts running around the map, this is where Harstem might over-dedicate to the north. The Immortal barriers do get popped. Disruptors are going to come in and try and get some more shots. Getting rid of those Immortals is a pretty big deal. Snipes off that Disruptor, but he
I don't
flicks
know.
right into the Immortals.
It ended up being worth it, though, especially with his reinforcements being here. Of course, puCK reinforcing back at home is collecting another army, because this one's probably going to die. He really has to buy as much time as possible. He also expands. It's actually done, so he needs to transfer workers over there. And puCK, even if he loses all these Blink Stalkers, they might do enough damage, buy enough time to not really matter. I mean, look at the army supply. It's still not terrible.
No, he got a big warping back at home. Lots of Stalkers back in play, and the Disruptors come out once again. And this is, this is almost 7 games in a row of this strategy. I am shocked, frankly. I mean, this is great because the players are good enough not to die to dumb early game things and get to this late game stage. But we've just been casting so many PvPs with other good players, Drogo, Mana, Lilbao, you name it, and we never see it get to this stage. Maybe it's just preference, or maybe it's the fact that they can't handle it. But either way, puCK and Harstem have taken this to that late game every single map.
There's a lot more cheese, usually, in a best-of series. And maybe not every game, but seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
We did actually have somebody asking in chat earlier, like, why aren't they just playing random? Like, why does it matter? And it's because there is $4,000 up for prizing on the line. Like, they are actually playing their hardest because, while this is new maps and it's uncomfortable territory, there's a significant amount of cash prizing made by Blizzard available for this tournament.
Yeah, that is different than the last couple, I suppose, where it was either a smaller, prize or really not much at all. But this is like a serious map contest, which really sucks if there are imbalances that have to be fixed or just straight up, initial bonuses for one race or another. It's all for the greater good, as well as money.
Ah, the Disruptor shot on one side is good, but not so great for the other. Upgrades are surprisingly even for the first time in, like, all day. puCK's always been a little bit behind in upgrades. These disruptor shots, though, are really like... I'm
so
clenching
close.
some muscles right now.
I was so close to killing all of puCK's disruptors, which has already happened at least once in this best of 9. So
Actually, there are 8 to 6 disruptors available. So definitely very scary. I mean, the thing is, eventually somebody is going to make a mistake, whether it's being out of position like this, allowing stocks to blink, or Harstem missing the opportunity. He always does this.
Well, he didn't just miss the disruptors. His force field, like, uncluttered, or yeah, like,
He like saved the stalkers.
Anyways. Okay, so it's still not terrible though. It just looks this is terrible.
Blink stalkers coming from the north side, and we got DTs on the field. I think Harstem's about to take a harsh loss here, as this may just end up going to the. Well, like it's not East match, best of 9. I thought it was best of 7 for a second.
If it was a 7, this would be the ace match.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's gonna go one more game regardless, but he's probably gonna lose this one. Nice snipes, and unfortunately puCK unable to return it with the disruptors. Once again, stuck in this position that lost him his initial army. Oh
well, he can get a hit like that, Zombie Grub, completely changed the game. Everything changed when the Disruptor Nation attacked.
Dear God, that's exactly what you needed for Harstem. Of course, he's still not on a 4th base. He actually needs to push the issue right now.
That's a good point. Like, puCK actually has the money and the income to replace the army he lost, as devastating as that was. And it was devastating, make no mistake. But Harstem doesn't have the money to recuperate losses. He really has to take advantage of the situation now. Without a 4th base and what looks like no plans to take a 4th base, this is the only momentum he's probably going to swing for some time. Getting another hit like that is almost, I'd say, impossible to pull off.
I don't think it'll happen, but hold on. Well, we're really actually literally about to see. puCK is fighting, well, almost could have caught Harstem in a choke. Unfortunately, his disruptors are lagging a little bit behind.
But look at this, he's sneaking around the
for a
side.
back attack.
Harstem not aware.
They can't, and well, of course, Harstem's wasn't all bulked up like it was for puCK, so that's it for his disruptor shots for a little while longer. A new one pops out, but that's going to get sniped.
Yeah, right away that goes down. Now he's going to start taking control of the ramp, and puCK's the one who actually needs to get up here to defend his production. He's going to lose that +3. No, he actually gets +3. Okay, good hold there, but the disruptor should keep that ramp alive. So now puCK's forced to try and base trade, question mark. But Harstem's brought a warp prism across the map, so he's going to have more units, more warpins, more damage. I guess the difference is puCK does have a whole extra base to trade out. But, man, Harstem's got that ball rolling. He's got some momentum. He's depowered all the gateways in the main. There's no production for puCK whatsoever at this point.
I'm surprised he's not killing the Dark Shrine. Even with observers are in the field, it's so much of like a... that could be the thing that loses you the game.
Going back home is not a bad choice. It is only Blink Stalkers, and he's got an upgrade lead and a considerable amount of Blink Stalkers to fight with. I think he can take puCK on. Not to mention, he can still warp in more units.
Actually, even upgrades. But yeah, it's still bigger army for Harstem. And he actually finds the army with like a perfect concave as well. No need for the disruptors. They can come in right now. Where you blink into them, I suppose. That worked out decently. There's the follow-up link, however, and Harstem's taking out the army.
Our mistake was getting Harstem out of this game, man.
My bad. Well, as soon as I did, he got like a great hit, so he should really be thanking me.
No, there are still some Blink Stalkers over here being a problem. This hasn't been cleaned up at all. Probes getting pulled into this won't cut it. He doesn't have enough Stalkers, and he's going to lose out on his, I'd say, main mining base. puCK is still mining, and he's slowly trying to get more production down here, realizing he's had to just completely yield the main base. But Harstem still has like a double the army supply lead. He still has momentum and the ability to push the issue. Oh, but these cannons are set up really nicely. This is a good way to spend money if you've got no production. Blinks away. I'm
trying to think of a way puCK can hold on to this. If Harstem pushes into the cannons and throws an overcharge as well, damn, like that's
look at that damage.
That is way
really should just go south. I mean, this is where all the new production's coming in, and once this gets cut out, this gets really problematic because puCK is already so limited on what he can do in the first place. Harstem knows out of cash, like straight up. He might have production, but he can't build anything. He's got to get a new Nexus down over here and try and get some minerals going. But Blink's over here to the side, catches some of the Stalkers, but his Blink's on cooldown, so now he's going to eat a Disruptor. Nice last second splits. Stalkers walk behind the mineral line, but there's a cannon waiting over here, so that's not going to work. And these units, normally you can afford to throw away 1 or 2, but it's not going to count. Not this point in the game where Harstem can't make more units.
This is closer than I would have expected, but... Okay, finally goes down to the very south. There's not as many cannons. Could still take on this army,
nice
especially with the micro.
Sick pickup on that Disruptor. Really important to keep that alive. puCK's Disruptors are nowhere close to getting into the fight. Warpin's finally coming into play. Going to depower some of the gateways. No, never mind. That's actually a lot of pylons keeping these alive. Disruptor's coming on the backside. He's going to lose one of them. Maybe 2 of them. Harstem loses his.
Okay, well, you have to snipe that. Don't just let it be there. Reinforcements come in to snipe it, to snipe it, to snipe it, to snipe it.
No, shush.
Eventually.
This is hysterical women, am I right?
Dude, that's almost off cooldown. Interesting.
I know, it actually does need to kill it for sure. Probe's getting pulled though. Final battle coming out of puCK. This is his last defense. The Warp Prism goes down. Stalker counts are way in the favor of Harstem, but the probes are soaking up a lot of damage actually.
I cannot believe that like Harstem's lack of mining is really screwing him. He also had 5 Blink Stalkers in the main base that are now joining, and he is mining again, yeah. Production's about to be taken out. Just 2 more pylons to take out, and puCK can't use any more of his bank despite mining pretty evenly here.
Oh, that probe transfer. So it is still 25 Stalkers to 24. Excuse me, as that starts falling down. Blink going to be going off. As puCK did blink aggressively, that gives him a bit of a disadvantage coming into this fight. Okay. Down to 14 Stalkers. I mean, the gateway's starting to fall here too. He's trying to get these pylons back up and running. Harstem has finally secured some mining after a very long period of knots. Oh, this is scary. Overcharge gets popped. He really wants to kill that pylon.
puCK probably just has to give this base. If he had 1 DT, which unfortunately lost his Dark Shrine, or like a Zealot or something, stopping Harstem's mining, like it would be a pretty uneven mining.
He snuck a probe back up here, and now he's going to get Disruptors back. This is something both players are lacking, but if puCK gets Disruptors and Harstem doesn't realize that, that might just be that swing attack he needs. I mean, it's pretty close on the Stalkers. It's still very much in the favor of Harstem, but only really just barely.
Only 1 disruptor is really hard to make it work. You know, that's easily snipeable. It's something that you wait from the pop it and you come back in.
It's one at first.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully if he can bulk him up, and that probably means giving up this base. I don't think Harstem is going to be able to break all those cannons soon.
Oh, here comes another fight. puCK's got a lot more this time. I like that Guardian Shield. That's going to be like having a free 2-level armor upgrades.
Yeah, puCK can't take it, but he also, I don't know. His Stalkers have to be with those cannons.
I don't think he can force Harstem to bait into that fight, and if the longer he waits, I guess he killed some probes and the rest got pulled away to defend this base. I like this move out of the Adepts. The Zealots certainly won't defend against that.
This is, if he actually can have any mining whatsoever on this 4th base, which he still is, because he had to chip through all these gateways, and get up a Disruptor count, then maybe puCK could actually save it.
Oh, there's some Zealots to soak some hits and maybe deal some damage. Blinking away, a Disruptor is brought to the front lines. Does Harstem realize this blinks only a small portion away? I love that. That's something consistent in these games. Harstem doesn't blink everything. He usually just blinks the units that are close by, saving the cooldown on a large amount of the Stalkers. But, that... Could the Cloud stuff give him that? No, I guess not. Let's say the high ground versus blink might not be too bad.
The Observer of puCK just went down with that, by the way, which didn't seem too important, but that could have been a lot of really important vision for him, as he now no longer has any Observers. Just to know where Harstem's army is, or even like if his probes are back on mineral lines or anything like that. So he's kind of blind outside of where his army is basically.
This has got to feel really disparaging because he knows that base is mining. He just lost the Adepts and saw the probes transfer back in. Harstem's really not spending too much on this side of the map. He is sending the Stalkers over, not realizing that they're over here, but he's still got such a big army supply. Unless he blinks into a Disruptor, I mean, all he has to do is maintain mining to be in a good spot.
Oh, I thought maybe puCK was going to try and disengage and force Harstem to blink forward, but now Harstem sees the Disruptor.
Yeah, now
he's going to snipe the Disruptor. Yeah. There you go.
Blinking away with his own Stalkers, running for his life. 17 Stalkers to 28. Of course, it's pretty noticeable, the difference. I don't think this is any question. puCK just trying to fight for his life in this situation. Lost mining on this base. No income, no production. This Disruptor hoping for some sort of miracle hit, but I don't think it can get it.
It's going to... Oh, never mind. Nah, didn't get it. Yeah, that is game now. puCK... I mean, he almost clawed his way back into this with just, mining, basically, but... That's it. There's no more mining. His 3rd base is mined out. His natural is not going to get any mining. Okay, 10 probes.
I really got to reemphasize like how much this game shifted on that 1 Disruptor hit. When Harstem was able to take this game back in his control.
Yeah, and I loved watching chat's reaction to that. I specifically put on the...
I know.
Playback. It's pretty good.
Well, I guess we're going back to North America for what could be the last game. It's game number 8 in a best of 9. Holy cow, schmoly, what the fuck? We'll see you guys here in 2 minutes while we swap servers. We got a new sub, by the way, Juggernaut Jason.
Woo!
Actually, yo, story time with Juggernaut Jason. I like this guy. Like, we've talked about him several times on stream. But what I really liked is our community liking this guy, because he was fundraising for a computer that basically got fully funded last night after we hosted him. So that was pretty awesome to see. So thank you, BaseTradeians, for being awesome like that. Oh wait, wrong score. Let me fix that. Okay, it is the Team Liquid Map Contest 7's maps. This is the BaseTradeTV Map Test Tournament. This is all sponsored by Blizzard. They're paying money and prizes to the map makers. They're going to be paying money and prizes to the players. And with this, hopefully we make Ladder great again. In the top right, he's going to be blue. It's Harstem.
In the bottom left, as the green Protoss, he's puCK.
All right, losing a lead that game, I'm certainly sure affected puCK. We'll see if he can rebound, though. This has been an exhaustingly long series, so I'm sure both of them feeling the burn at this point. But I do want to quickly take a look at around the map. So your main is actually up on a high ground. It doesn't look like it initially, but it is up on the high ground. Appears to be you've got an entrance back here to a gold. And then this is kind of walled off by mineral patches. This is cool. So you are walled off, and you can safely, air quotes, take this gold. You'd be threatened from attacks outside of it, just like that other map. Or you can just take a much safer version down here. This is kind of cool that it gives you a couple different options. Even a third ramp goes this direction. Oh, wow, all the way around the map. So you are not exactly secure in your main. puCK says this, this is funny, yeah. So, you're not secure in your main at all.
Yes. This was the category new map, so it is supposed to be kind of confusing, actually.
Yeah, changing things up.
Very much changing things up. The other new map was the one we saw in the first map of the series, the really short one that just could be hyper aggressive, but actually ended up playing out into a macro game.
Yo.
So just a little bit of similarities. What?
Is this something with my monitor, or are you seeing this too? Like when I drag left and right, do you see black spots appear on these pillars?
The pillars? It's your monitor. I don't see anything.
You
It's
sure?
your graphic settings, probably.
Maybe. Okay, that's just weird. Just like little black spots appear for a second. But anyways, that aside, as long as it's not showing through on the stream, I guess it's not. So it's just my monitor. This is kind of cool. The whole middle area is walled off by mineral patches and 2 rock locations, I guess. So, I mean, you could technically open up the middle, have an arena, fight down here, expand that direction. But I got to imagine, like, 9 out of 10 of these maps are going to go on the outside. Maybe there's one exception of the gold that puCK's taking on the inside.
I am so oh my god, I am so confused. So the problem I can see right now is that, okay, the gold base has that, you know, whole like, okay, it's a gold base, so it should be risky. That's great, but I think the problem is more like you don't even know which base you're supposed to take.
Well, it's not. That's what I like, though. Like the fact that there is nothing here telling you you have to play this direction, you have to expand this particular way. Like, it's kind of rebellious without a cause and not that big of a deal, but it's just interesting. If this is going to be categorized as new maps, that makes sense. Like, this is a new map and introducing new things. That is the one thing I would have expected to block air in the middle of the map. Apparently it does not.
Bring back Cloud Shark. That should block air.
Or maybe just attack ships.
No, that's bad. It's no good. It's like the Total Biscuit map, right?
I don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Recalls to go back home, so that really didn't accomplish too much. Did pop off an overcharge, though, I suppose, but overcharge for a recall. Also tried to duck into the natural base, but that's not going to accomplish too much either, so Harstem holds in the early game. But puCK's the one who's actually getting something a little bit different. He went for a Stargate. Oracle just finished up and is now heading across the map. But with the overcharge already having been burnt, there should be one more just in time.
This map bothers me, actually.
It does.
I don't know how to explain it. Okay, this Oracle is a great idea. First of all, I like that. Doesn't do too much, but
it feels uneasy. Like, I feel like we're playing a horror game or something.
Yeah,
Not because
exactly.
like the map is scary, you just feel really uneasy.
They changed the camera angle to make you uneasy, but they didn't actually put anything scary in it. Yeah,
What was that? Was it The Hobbit? They ran at like 45 FPS or something, and people were like, "I'm getting motion sick watching this."
Oh, well, yeah, they did, yes. But I cannot stand that you can't go through the map, like the middle of the map. If this became a ladder map, my first goal in every game would be to break down these rocks.
Well, this is like the third map we've seen where this has kind of introduced this idea of not going through the middle. I don't like that as a standard, but if it becomes something cool, I'm also not opposed to it.
I don't mind not going through the middle, because usually it's kind of like, you know, 2 outer pathways, but still, you know, the middle of the map. This is actually going entirely around the map to get somewhere. That's annoying.
Real quick, by the way, we
forgot
to make sure that people knew the map maker for this was Thought, TH0T. Let's give proper credits where it's due on whether this ends up being an amazing map or a terrible map. Love and
Well,
hate
so
goes
far
this
it's a
direction.
passive map. I mean, it looks kind of short when you first look at it, but because the middle is not something you can go through, it's the entire outside. So, third expansion's coming down for, I assume, both of them. puCK first, but Harstem maybe thinking about it. I don't know where he would put it. I assume to his left, but I don't know. Maybe it's the gold base. Well, puCK is getting a little bit aggressive through the south side. This Oracle, by the way, has gotten, like, I guess a decent amount of kills, really, just from coming in over and over again. Oh, that's a very delayed photon overcharge. It's too bad. But I thought he saw this. He has Zelnaga. Yeah, does puCK not realize Harstem has a Zelnaga right on top of his warpins?
I don't think so. I mean, it is such an awkward thing. You literally don't see it yourself to see that's high ground. So, I mean, it looks sneaky, and he probably feels so proud of himself, but Harstem's already through it.
Okay. Well, this was a little bit of revenge. Yeah, Harstem on the puCK's gold base now here. But it doesn't compare to what is happening with the main engagement. puCK, unfortunately, not able to get much done. Not with an immortal that he can't really snipe down, so just harassment for now. This is going to be increasingly more annoying.
I love this. This is so stupid. I'm glad you pointed that out. Like, I didn't realize you didn't see it.
It is a little silly, yes.
His stalkers are winning out this fight pretty hardcore and just denying all the gold base mining. So this is kind of that first thing we pointed out on the map. Like, that's a potential, and that's obviously what's happening, and very, very problematic, for puCK. But in the meantime, while he's losing a little harassment back at home, he's actually winning pretty hardcore out here. And oh, that stasis trap catches some of the stalkers. Wait, what? You're not supposed to be able to move.
Oh, it's like he's falling.
Yeah, it's like it's been lifted up by a phoenix or something. Anyways, the immortals are popped out, and they're gonna do some pretty good damage, but as the force will start running out, as the stasis trap runs out, he'll have his full force of the army, and Harstem can certainly fight what's available.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, continue to harass on the other side of the map. 2 stalkers segment off. 2 stay here to deny mining. The other 2 go down to the natural base.
Really nice harassment. You look at the income graph. Like, puCK spiked, I think, with the gold base, and then has unspiked with the denial of the gold base and a little bit of the probe kills from the third. Yeah, that's what it was for puCK. And Harstem, he still doesn't have his own third, so even though this looks great and fantastic right now, I am definitely surprised Harstem has not tried to get a third on either location, the gold base, and he's going to go for the gold base, or to the top left, where the army definitely wasn't. He probably could have gotten that, no problem. But he's going to try and take the gold. Retake that Zelnaga as well.
I really like this Zelnaga. Like, this has actually been super sick. I didn't even realize he also has puCK's Zelnaga. Like, I don't think puCK even knows about the Zelnagas.
How?
He dropped he dropped it off of the warp zone on his way out.
Still.
I think it's hilarious. I love it.
Please, take the Zelnagas.
So Harstem, not exactly in a base lead. It's weird because, like, he has, again, going back to the graph, not been looking too bad because of all the mining he was denying, but the second puCK got back on that gold base, shot back up. So needing his own third in some variety, decides to go for the gold. Not a bad choice considering he's had vision and coverage of this for so long. Will the stalkers blink in and take care of that, or are they just going to chill out here? They could blink in and kill so many probes, I feel.
Probably thinks the army's, like, right there, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
Harstem... Go ahead, sorry.
You first.
I was gonna say, Harstem, for once in this best of 9, got upgrades fairly late, so they've only just both started +1, 9 minutes in.
Well, I was gonna say, sick new subler. Shoutouts to Where's My Elephant?
That's not an elephant sound.
You know what? At least I know what an elephant looks like, okay? I've seen you play that drinking. I have video of you playing a drinking game where you don't know what an elephant looks like, okay?
Because my trunk wasn't very dynamic?
You and Harstem had, like, the worst elephant trunks of all time. Actually,
just put your arm out and then you wave it. Like, that's what everyone does. How is that bad? You made fun of my sounds.
The sounds were terrible, too. It was just all in all a terrible mess of an elephant. And I hope it's not a creature that ever
I feel like you forgot that it was the sounds I messed up. You could have easily just retorted with, you don't have very good elephant sounds either.
You know what? Well, I'm the one with the video, so we'll upload that later. We'll decide.
Okay. Whatever.
Actually, all I really, really remember hardcore from that video is how fucking drunk Sake was. Oh my god.
Sake?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god, I totally forgot.
He was just, like, in the background, totally out of his mind. Homestead Cup was such good times. I hope we get to go to another one at some point. Anyways, Stalkers are just going to blink away because what puCK realizes right away is there's 3 Immortals with this army. That's not something he can contest with what he has. DT's also going to sneak in, quote unquote. The Warp Prism reveals itself, but the DT is not so obvious.
This is Harstem's second one, by the way, that also got denied in a similar fashion. Oh my god.
Almost.
So close.
Warp Prism in the north out of puCK, though, chooses to go for a Depths, which is not a bad choice. These will tear through probes pretty quickly, and one cannon will not stop it the same way it does the DT.
Well, that's going to take forever to tear down the cannon, though. He's not even going to bother. That's funny.
This map, by the way, I mean, the Warp Prism play has not been too astounding. I was expecting to talk about them more, or like I guess in case of Terran drops, but more importantly Protoss, like again, Stargate play with the middle of the map being exempt. But this has been such a strange, like, Warp Prisms have had very little impact for either player in this game.
So, if they play this map again, which one of them might, in a PvP, or maybe even other matchups, I'm not sure, they might focus a lot more on Stargates after realizing how long everything else has taken to do, and it's done really nothing.
Yeah, Nexus goes down here at the gold base. Nice snipe out of Harstem. puCK didn't really get to mine too much off that either because he had been denied for so long. Double cannons in the main aren't going to work. Pull back, make an Archon. Literally anything but this.
Oh well, just focusing on different things.
What's this overcharging?
He's had that. That's like the same time we saw delayed overcharge. It's kind of funny. Both of them making a little bit of mistakes here and there. So finally, by the way, disruptors are on the way for both players. puCK's been making his, so going up to 4. But Harstem has really just stayed off of him. And he's only just now getting a second robo, so I assume he's gonna make them soon. No one's broken down the rocks that would lead them to the middle? No, they have. At least, yeah.
No.
puCK did.
There's mineral patches, though. It's not rocks here that block the middle.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so he broke down one rock path.
That would be the equivalent of Harstem's up here, but there's still, yeah, like all that does is open the doorway there. It's a confusing
Why is it
map.
even there?
DTs, by the way, sorry, while we got confused by this, DT fight.
Oh, nice. Denial on the +2? Maybe? It's DT versus DT action.
No, he shut it down, so he's just got to get that pylon back up and running. Warp Prism over here gets sniped. Oh, full of cargo.
Nice.
I think that's just 4 Stalkers. Not a big deal. Down here, though, in the bottom right, cannon alone's not going to cut it. Force fields could be really scary because the Immortals could be removed from the fights.
Harstem, he's so late on his disruptors that he only has 1 joining the party right now. Should be 2 more shortly.
The hallucination was kind of cool. Harstem doesn't fall for it because it's in range of the cannons, but I guess if you really want your opponent shooting the disruptors the wrong way, that's one way to do it.
+2, by the way, I think it started up again for Harstem, but still a little bit behind puCK. Shouldn't make a big difference. The disruptor count is what's super important right now, and it is being rallied in from the main, I think. No, the natural. It's a little bit better. But still a long ways to go all the way down to the 4th base. Interesting how they both expanded differently, too.
That was a blink burn for a fake disruptor. That was actually kind of scary.
Yeah, it was scary, but luckily nothing happened because of it, so it's going to be off pulldown. puCK expands, because he's been missing a 4th since that gold base went down. He expands the very top left, and really there hasn't been much focus on the top side of the map other than getting, well, units basically across the map with it, so that might just get up without a hitch. Stargates are finally on the way for both parties. You know, maybe they realize that this might be the best option for the map, but also the best option for the scenario. Like, if you're not trading out too frequently, you actually are starting to accrue a bank, then Tempests can be the ultimate snipers. Like, they'll trump the disruptors on the ground that, you know, they might be able to take down the ground army, but eventually, of course, they can't take down the Tempests. But they did this on that huge map, too. Like, both before Stargate, and they just didn't do anything with it. Maybe puCK made an Oracle for Revelation, but nothing else from it. I mean, look kind of pushing the issue. Harstem has a much bigger mineral bank, but lacking on the gas.
Oh, what's scary is there's not a lot of room to dodge. By the way, that was some straight up like Hanzo Genji cinematic stuff where like puCK just had his like disruptor pulled over by the other one. Only a shamanic can control the disruptors.
That'd be a pretty good Carbot episode, because allied disruptors can't kill each other.
That's
so
true.
They go through each other.
Oh man, now I want to see nice username make like an actual in-game version of that, like cinematic styles. But okay, Stalker's blinking away. This is getting really harrowing, though, and not because anyone's in immediate danger, but there is no maneuvering on this. It is back and forth, like in a linear line. There's no going up and down. There's no, like, dodging off to the side. I really like that Harstem's thinking about Tempests. Kind of just going back on the middle of the map being what it is, on top of the fact that you'll need something ranged to take out those disruptors.
Yeah, I'm really good to see the Tempests are actually on the way, but I wonder who's going to be the first one to take the middle parts of the map and start actually mining it.
I think with Tempest control... Well, I'll hold that phone. puCK's also throwing down a fleet beacon now. But I think whoever gets the air control first might do it. And we've talked about this before, where puCK is not a bad player, and I know he can play carriers, and he can play Tempest, but he doesn't, and I'm wondering if that makes him less practiced for it coming to this late game, knowing the subtle nuances of, like, how many stalker shots does it take? How risky can I be? Oh, man, there's so many disruptors here. This is so stupid. 9-11, never forget. There's so many. Ugh.
I feel like after so many games where puCK has lost at that late game, hopefully he's been practicing it pretty hard on the ladder. Although it's always hard to, like, force yourself in the late game.
This is, by the way, just so crazy to me that we can see puCK playing to this ferocity against somebody as good as Harstem, but lose to PvP yesterday in the qualifying match for IEM. Like, that blows me away to see how different that was night and day, literally.
Especially because Peely had earlier, I believe, this is a Fear Dragon off to the side, like, just complained about his PvP run rate, but maybe wrong matchup. So, that was close.
That feel when you've got so many stalkers that you can't actually blink away to safety.
Not really any ground being given. It's a tug of war in the south side. Absolutely nothing else happening, too. Like, you would expect a War Prism to the north, or just even, like, a walk-by to the north, but...
Ooh, the Hallucinated Void is interesting. He lost the Oracle he was using to scout with. This provides vision. puCK's actually going to segment some stalkers northwards and I guess take some of them to blink into Harstem's main. That's cool. I like this. Harstem doesn't really have any protection up here.
He does have Floated Overcharge and cannons, but they are both supply blocks, so no weapons held. Another
aspect, though, is as more Tempests and more slow units get made, responding is not going to be easy either. He can't get back home without without a recall. In fact, he may be better off recalling the mothership down here to grab units to recall back home.
Okay, that would be very silly, but true. But DT defense will probably be good enough as well.
Actually, if they blink over the mineral patches, this is mined out. That's not a big deal to lose that base.
Yeah, Harstem needs to expand again to the north, where there's kind of a freebie base. Again, not much damage, not much focus to the north. Looks like puCK's going to take on those rocks, and I guess that's where they become useful, is they stop blink stalkers for like another 30 seconds. But there they go. I can start targeting down a couple of key buildings, like the Dark Shrine. That would be pretty nice.
Just disrupted some of his own army there. Not many died, but Tempest versus Tempest, man. This is going to get scary. Of course, Harstem... 40-minute well, maybe. I just want to really stress, like, Harstem actually has the capability to lose this game. He's got another life in his back pocket. puCK doesn't. So it's very, very important that he makes this work. That's where you're going with that.
Yes, absolutely true. So he does want to blink in and take out a couple of key units, but unfortunately not really going to happen. Now with the DTs there, cannons, overcharge, he's going to be a little more careful with the blink stalkers up to the north, or we will just lose them by not paying attention. They are going to slowly transfer into nothing but air, that is. Just air, not anti-air, too, which will be very silly. You know, they'll both be bleeding out the ground army, and they'll both really just have to go for the air. And it'll be about who can afford it more. Harstem with the bigger bank right now can afford it more. But the mining is not bad for puCK. In fact, he's starting to take it back in the income graph.
He actually dives forward with the stalkers to help focus down the Tempest. An interesting choice because they're not quite the priority just yet, but he doesn't want to lose control of them. We got some DTs actually snuck in here. This is going to be a bit of a problem, but he's got detection for it. Loses the Observer to the cannons while this goes on, however. Stalkers getting all kinds of awkward behind those mineral lines, and this fight has been so strange, but look at that Disruptor clump in the back. There's 12 of them still standing.
Harstem is not remaxing. That's the only reason he's at such a low supply.
He's got money for it. I guess he's lost a lot of production back at home to these Stalkers. Gateways are depowered, and this is bad news bears. I think Harstem's losing this fight at home. GG. puCK ties up the series. We're going to the ace match.
Harstem is such a huge bank.
I know. He just died with 4K in the middle. 4K, 1.7K. That sucks. That hurts.
What is the last map? Jesus. Namaste.
Namaste. All right. Well, we're going back to the European server. That's for certain. So we'll see you guys in... I'm so glad we didn't make people wait for the Corsair Cup and just said we'll do replays. Like,
dear God.
We'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Namaste. This was the map that had the really cool cherry blossoms in it. Actually, I liked.
Yes.
I like that it wasn't all over the map too. This graphical effect appears to only be on the bases. Because like when I had panned away, it wasn't an issue.
Panda?
Yeah.
Where?
Shut up. In the top right side, here we are in the ace match. It's all tied up 4-4. I can't even believe it. It's gonna be the purple Protoss puck.
And top left as the red Protoss, it's Harstem.
I like how he's like, what the fuck? Like, it's pretty. I don't understand.
Like he doesn't understand.
You know, just tell him it's 2-player. I mean, that's fine. But okay, we saw this map earlier today. It had some interesting dynamics with Lambo and BaseTTQD about over here. Harstem, figure that part on your own, man. the maps on the part on the bottom doesn't even look the same.
So mean, puck.
Okay. You should put a poop in all chat. This would be the one appropriate time for it. But anyways, I was going to talk about, we saw some abusiveness with the gold bases up here. And I think Protoss with Stalkers might see that come into effect. But, oh my god, he's actually scouting.
He was scouting.
He's actually scouting. I can't. I can't. Like, the map doesn't even look... Like, if we tell you it's a 2-player spot map, I can't believe he's scouting. Now, and before he turns this into the sexist proxy of all time, because Harstem is a true mad genius, amazing baller. Nope, he's just silly.
Oh, damn it. Harstem could have, though. But if he, like, question mark, it would have been, like, so obvious. Oh, damn it.
Well, this is the advantage to knowing what you're doing when it comes to brand new maps and the map test tournament. I just love that that just actually happened, though. The thing is, though, with PvP being what it is, Harstem gets here a little bit later, but he'll still get an appropriate scout. And even if Stalkers were out ready and waiting for him, you're still kind of okay, because you'll know, oh, there's 2 Stalkers, I know what build you went for.
Yeah, like a super fast build. Jesus. Already waiting?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Like, it would have to be a proxy, basically. Because even if you went for, like, a proxy Stargate, you would still be able to scout that.
Those 2 probes just killed each other the same second we pan back over to the base.
Amazing. So, a little bit, you know, frustrating for Harstem, but it does not affect the overall grand scheme, whatever you want to call it. And, speaking of his grand scheme, so BCQD had a very nicely set up build, especially once he realized how the Zerg was going to expand. You can really abuse a couple of these ledges here. Really not going to happen in PvP. This should be more about the alleyways, whatever you want to call it, the Zelnaga, and then the one alleyway that puCK is going with. But what is going to be interesting to see is where it is more common for the fights to happen, to the north or to the south of that Zelnaga.
Yeah, and also just what exactly, I mean, is it disruptors and stalkers again? I mean, that will certainly be an interesting factor to play in. I was really hoping for Stargates in Game 9, but nope, not gonna happen.
Sorry. I think,
1 for 1 again. They are trading up pretty, this is like some serious yin and yang shit.
Namaste. There'd be a cool Easter egg on this.
A literal Easter egg?
That'd be pretty. But no, I was gonna say Zenyatta.
Yeah, that would be cool. Actually, you know what? I tell you this, like, as a map maker, I would actually put an Easter egg on each map. Like, just like a straight up actual
It's like your
egg.
calling card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Easter eggs in general, though. Like, when there's hidden stuff on the map, that's always cool. Like the Arthas on King Sejong Station and stuff. Like,
which we can now always bring back to when there's something else to talk about.
I think it is the coolest one, though, because no one else really seems to know about it. Like, none of the other casters we've talked to that I remember back when it was part of the map pool, I'd message people like Nathanius, and he was like the only one I think who ever knew. He's like, yeah, in the top right. And I'm like, yeah, cool. You actually know.
Yes, that's all very true, but someone in chat just reminded me, does Overwatch come out with the ability to buy coins?
If it does, then
Oh,
I'm
God.
not getting my wisdom teeth out. I'm
Yeah,
buying
I was about to
1,700
say.
loot boxes.
I
Actually, I really hope it doesn't, because I actually cannot afford to be tempted. I actually have to save all my money for my wisdom
I'm
teeth
gonna
stuff.
just rub it in your face and just be like, dance it. And
Look
moan
at all
over
these
the place.
skins, Ripgator.
Yo, actually, I haven't gotten my box yet, so I probably can't even play tonight. Feels bad.
Feels bad, man. Everyone else is like waiting like Christmas morning. I mean, if you got really tempted, you can just buy the digital copy for like $30. Install
No, that's 30
it.
bucks more I could spend on skins.
I hate you. I hate you.
Anyway, I've been doing so well too. Like about like a money accounting app or whatever. I haven't paid for anything. I even made 25 bucks last night because I made my dad sushi.
Your dad paid you to make sushi?
Yeah, I was surprised too. But he was like, "I'll pay you for it," and I was like,
How lazy was your dad feeling? He's like,
"No,
just
man,
go.
sushi." Well, first of all, you have to know how to make sushi, and then second of all, you have to make it the day of, or it tastes really bad.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, yeah. But I still didn't expect the money.
Don't be so psyched about that. I'm just agreeing. This isn't like a battle you've won, okay?
Oh, it is. It's always a battle.
It's a constant battle. This is why Zombie and I have such trouble being friends. We're always fighting.
This is why I'll never have a significant other. I win this relationship.
They'll be like, I'm a pretty good kisser. You're like, no, I am. Come here. Like,
Yeah.
you would,
Anyway.
yeah, that would be a terrible relationship trait to have. But okay, the rocks are being knocked down. Harstem knows there's an attack looming, but this pathway is very force fieldable. So it's going to be kind of hard for either player to get through this. The hallucinated Phoenix scouts to see the impending army as well. I really like the idea of the Warp Prism, but I feel like if the sentries are left over here, because Blink's not done yet, there's a small opportunity which he can use it.
Oh.
But, he doesn't have vision. Oh, no.
No. Does he even notice there's
Okay, he
significantly
sees.
less army? Oh, he barely gets in there. Oh my good god.
This was so tight. I mean, Blink is almost done for both players, so this didn't have to be incredibly terrible. But this was something really cool and creative out of puCK, and I like that move. Like bonus points from Rifkin on that attempted attack.
It almost worked. I'm really glad he brought his Mothership Core because, you know, most of the time when Protoss attack nowadays, Legacy board entirely, really, they don't bring it for recalls anymore. Good thing. He would have lost a big chunk of his army had he not done that. So the game goes on, and it looks like it is going to be more about the north side of the map as they both expand that way. Nope.
But Harstem's over here with his force fields ready to go, so he's going to keep this base from expanding, and buying time gives him a little bit of a lead. Now, of course, you have to buy a lot of time for this to really matter, but puCK picks up the probe, and he's going to go for the gold instead. That's kind of cool.
Oh. Interesting. Harstem does have Blink. He might have been able to stop that from happening. Instead, chooses to get some nice force fields. Immortal goes down. Nice. Starting a thunderstorm. I hope I don't leave you for thunderstorm reasons.
Well, it's the last game, so I'm not too worried. Oh, we got cast Corsair Cup. That's right.
Yeah, excuse you.
Thunderstorm reasons be damned. I expect you to stay around, even if your power goes out.
iPad, Skype. I think what's happening is... Anyway. So, this game, okay, denial on the third base, that's nice. And I really don't know how viable it is to get that gold base. I mean, it kind of looks just as viable. Not sure. But puCK is having a tough time getting a third base, whichever one it is, and that's becoming a bigger and bigger problem. Harstem, once again, with the upgrade leads. What else is new, I suppose? puCK doesn't like upgrades. puCK's like, create your upgrades. Yeah, disruptors.
He has had to change the place of his Nexus so many times, so that's really concerning. Like, the third base gets started down here, and Harstem's already saturated on his. He's up an upgrade lead, as pointed out. I mean, like, there's just... leads go to Harstem, and it really feels like that's been the course of this game. Like, home field server advantage hasn't played too big of an instance when it comes to, like, a lot of these disruptor shots, or even the Blinkstalker micro, but for whatever reason, there has been, like, this very distinct home field advantage.
I wish you had kept track of who won on what. I mean, there's only one time we stayed on Europe, and that was because puCK gave up, kind of, his server swap. So I don't know how it went down. Couldn't recall. But all right, so disruptors it is, and puCK, he has. I guess there really are 3 bases to choose from. You could focus on the north and just contend this middle space, which looks so hard to do in PvP. I can't even imagine doing it myself. Expand towards the gold. I think that would be okay, but then I guess you would give them an opportunity to get into your natural. That would suck. And then expand to where puCK is now, which is kind of the last option he had with how aggressive Harstem was being, which probably won't be pressured much at all.
I love this courtyard. Not for the fight, but it's just really beautiful to look at. The cherry blossoms come back when you pan over this direction.
Pretty.
Well, the position is actually not bad for puCK. Harstem can't really push out, but he already did so much damage early on economically just by denying the base, as long as he did. I guess there's some danger of a warp prism getting out of hand over here, but he's got cannons coming down, so I don't think that'll even be that big of a problem.
Hmm. I thought that puCK's later third was going to be a problem, and maybe it still is, because Harstem does have a bigger bank, and he's getting a faster fourth, so I guess in little aspects it is a big deal, but he still has an even armor supply, as you said. This is not really a position that either one can break each other, as long as they... I mean, it's such an odd little plateau here, ramp to the offense, ramp to the defense, but as long as Harstem's on it, puCK can't do very much, but much else is happening. I like that Harstem does send down a lot of units to the south. Stalker sees this and chases, trying to see where it's going, but of course it's obvious, going towards puCK's third base.
I like this. I really like the segmented attack force, and there really isn't anything to defend. Like there's a couple of cannons, I guess, but warpins maybe ? Yeah, this warpin's not coming into play. Mothership Core even comes over. That's going to be picked off pretty quick. Doesn't even have a chance to finish form. He just dies in the ether. Cannons do take out the warp prism to the north, so the adepts aren't that problematic, and Harstem's actually in a better position harassing, but this draws puCK back, but it doesn't give Harstem the ability to push through the middle of the map because he's withdrawn his forces.
It's such a big middle of the map, it's even if he tries to push through it, it's going to take him a while to get there, and there's still these little plateaus that are making things very odd.
Check this out. Harstem's actually expanding towards puCK's base.
Oh, ha! I get it. He's funny. He's good.
Because of that thing.
Yeah. I wonder if it would have been fine for Harstem to take the gold base, since his army was already posturing there and it wasn't being broken, but
I think that the gold base on both sides is really tempting, but it's also in a very dangerous position. I don't disagree that with the army there, but the army wouldn't have been there for the whole game. And that forces a defensive fight on a location I don't think you want to be fighting on anyways. I don't know. Expanding southwards is perfectly fine. Disruptor shot's going to go off, and these ones might look not too bad. Not amazing, but pretty good.
Wow, cooldown's still not off of those. It's pretty bad start for puCK, but only 20 supply. Disruptors now could get the high ground, again going up to this little edge here.
Look at the income graph, by the way. I didn't even... Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, Harstem has been winning. I mean, it initially didn't look that big of a deal because it wasn't really reflecting the army supply, but the faster fourth and... of course, he always has faster upgrades. He's getting charge, which, he went for that charge game, an actual charge game once. That was the game that he lost pretty early on, one of our faster games. And then he went for charge and then canceled it in, like, another one of the earlier games. So I wonder if this is intentional. It looks like it. It's going to finish. But it's not really something you put a part of your army. Because even if the Zealots get on top of the Stalkers or the Disruptors, they usually don't add that much more than, more Immortals or more Stalkers or more Disruptors.
On the open like this, so the Disruptors are clumped. It's a little bit scary. puCK loses one to start. It's actually a pretty nice count of them. Like, it's 7 to 8 on both sides. This isn't too terrible. But again, the Stalkers have been just running around. This is a kill, not a cancel. Warp Prism down here to the south. Zealot's going to be running into the base while Stalkers fight in the army.
This is pretty good for Harstem. Now 30 supply lead, a little bit more. That's pretty damn good. He's really taking control of the map, too. I mean, there's so many different avenues of attack available if you have a Warp Prism, if you have Blink Stalkers, but it's really only been Harstem that's using it.
I really like the DT for killing units, much less the cannons, but Zealots do their job. Cannons getting torn down. Stalkers on top of the base. DT's warped in defensively out of puCK, but this is such a... 49 probes to 74 probes. I mean, the income game has been Harstem's favor for a long time, and it's going to stay that way at this rate.
Warp Prism's still alive, and there's kind of a low chance it'll ever be sniped off if it stays in the bottom right. puCK can't afford to send his army down there to take care of it. It looks like he's not really sectioning off Stalkers like Harstem is. So, of course, Harstem knows where the army is, as he saw, and is trying to catch it. Nope,
at the same time, we know puCK knows how to. We've seen him do it in several games in this series. Just this game, for whatever reason, he just doesn't have control of the map the same way.
No, he does not. It's really been Harstem roaming around, having a lot of vision too. You see all the dots, the red dots on this map. The Warp Prism has gone from the bottom right into the natural to cause a lot more damage. puCK with a last ditch, desperate throw of a base trade here. Harstem did try and take the gold. It's not gonna work out.
The defensive DTs have been working out really nicely for puCK, so he's holding against this aggression from Harstem, but the main fight now is in a bit of an awkward spot because puCK is now really into the heart of Harstem. If puCK wins this game, obviously it's all over. If Harstem wins this game, it's all over. I mean, this is such a big, decisive battle, and there's no more games to fall back on. Everything on the line. Photon overcharges flying off. Disruptors can't quite get in there. Stalkers blinking forward. puCK taking a lot of momentum from this fight.
puCK has taken the army supply lead, and I think some of that was just that the harassment was cleaned up.
Disruptors are starting to go a little bit better for Harstem. Let's not forget about that bank. He can build more gateways elsewhere if necessary, but he hasn't lost his production just yet. Just simply one of the bases.
I absolutely feel more favorable for Harstem, and he does take that supply lead again in that army, but puCK could do something maybe with the choke. No, there's no exit there. Never mind. He's trapped.
I guess you can blink out maybe, but you don't want to abandon the disruptors.
Oh, wow.
So I blinks forward on top of them. That's bold. That's dangerous. Harstem's starting to take control of the game back. There's no running for puCK as he gets the stalkers out alive. He's still lost a lot back at home.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's lost too much of an army. I guess this is going to be cleaned up, and the natural's cleaned up, and puCK does have almost a secret base to the very bottom right, but he's lost probably too much of his army. If he can get disruptors up again, and he's trying to. Looks like there's only one at a time, however. Not enough gas.
Resources lost, so damn similar. Probe count was brought to a much more close count as well. In this game, like, first off, I really like Namaste because of the aesthetics. I like it because of the theme that seems to be happening here where they're trading out pretty evenly, but this game is definitely favoring Harstem with all those disruptors still in play and puCK only just starting his production once again, 8-2.
Ooh, that is a big count. Oh, awkward here. Both didn't expect to see each other on that little ridge. And looks like Harstem's going to be a bit more aggressive about taking control of it, so he can't really walk up against those disruptors. More units going to the north. This is why I feel that Harstem has won this game. Whenever they've been tied in the middle, just locked in a stalemate, he's the one that's going around with a portion of his army, which could be dangerous in one sense, but it's working out for him.
What has stopped him in a lot of these side attacks, though, has been the DTs. I feel like if he could sneak an observer out, I mean, right now his production's gapped, so he's actually able to build some. But because he's had such a big disruptor lead, he doesn't have to keep producing disruptors right now, and a couple of observers with these run-bys would be marvelous, and I think, like, double the effectiveness of those attacks. He's going to find out about this base, by the way. Didn't know about it before, now he does. Army for puCK is going to respond. This might let Harstem just pressure forward. But let's not forget, Harstem might get caught in the same position puCK was moments ago, where you go a little too deep.
Yeah. I brought this up, I guess, when the almost base trade happened, but having that gold base for Harstem, now it's just not gonna be touched. puCK is so far into his own side of the map for so long, and no harassment. I thought he had a dark shrine. He hasn't really used it. That was so dangerous.
That was some sick focus fire, because that was like milliseconds of difference on those stalkers dying at the end. But base dying means he's gonna also have control of this portion of the map to go south. puCK's only option really is to try and base trade, and I don't think he can. Harstem's not going to let him. Harstem's going to chase the army in the middle of the map, finds the Archon. Surprise, he can't blink. It's going to go down. And this might just be where this finally comes to a conclusion here in the best of 9, game number 9.
I think so. Just Blink Stalkers for puCK are going to be overwhelmed by the Just Blink Stalkers of Harstem, and then everything else that trails behind those Blink Stalkers. So, not looking so good. Harstem, by the way, having gotten charged, again, very odd to see that. If he just like warps in 2 sets of warp-ins at whatever base puCK is trying to get to, actually he's retreating, so never mind, they would do a lot of damage. They do get on top of the stalkers there.
Still the audacity, but also the smarts to continue expanding while this goes on.
Yeah.
Does Harstem have no detection? Harstem's got no detection. This is very awkward. I know he has observers. Where are they? Okay,
they're all on the map.
They're coming.
I brought that up like minutes ago, I guess, so that I just F2'd. He's like, where are they? So they're all here now, and there's no coverage of puCK's movement on the map until he places
he's doing some good things. But there's cannons here. There's such a big army. I just want to reiterate, by the way, guys, that we do have one matchup of every variety. So, like, we had the PvP and the ZVT today. We got ZVZs, ZVPs, TVPs, excuse me, and such lined up still to go. So you're going to get to see a lot more on these maps throughout the week. All 4 days of the next 4 days we'll be casting. In fact, I think it's like 7 days straight. Because we'll be doing 2 matches a day, then the round of 8, then the semifinals, which are best of 11s, then the grand finals, which is best of 15.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God there's only 1 best of 11 per day, though. 2 would be murder.
Yeah, that would be a lot. This game's still going on. I mean, 2 minutes ago was probably the real end of puCK here, but he's trying to do something by expanding, as you said, just having a peace of mind to actually expand while everything was going to hell.
Yeah.
Finally, his expansion's going down, however.
Jeez Louise, though. I mean, this was a great game. Like, forget the fact that this was a new map for a second. The whole series, GG. I enjoyed this so
God.
much. This, by the way, I know some of you were probably like, oh, it's PvP, snooze fest. I loved it. I loved every second of it. And this is why we've got that awesome PvP tournament coming up. Because we're going to get to see more of this. The difference being that puCK and Harstem are going to be on the same team over there. Not enemies.
Not enemies.
But okay, that concludes this, but not the overall cast. Because, wait for it, I'm going to snap my fingers if I did this correctly. There we go, a little bit of a lag. Now we're going to be casting the rest of the Corsair Cup. We are going to take a break, though. Zymbrub and I need to stretch. I need to just, like, grab a snack to eat or something. So we got 2 semifinals matches and a grand finals match. So 2 best of 3s and a best of 5 on normal maps. Oh, will these work with the balance patch having hit? Are we going to get screwed on the replays?
Oh my god, you might... Did they actually finish before that?
I don't know. That's the thing, because I don't know when it went live.
Oh my
Well,
god.
one way or another, if I have to solo cast it because we can't sync it up or whatever the case may be, we'll figure something out, guys. But we got the Corsair Cups from today. We're going to go get sorted out ASAP. But like I said, we're going to go to a break before we do that. So thank you all for watching the Team Liquid map contest. But we are still casting for another, like, probably hour and a half, 2 hours. Oh, God. I actually don't know the map scores. So maybe they're all 2-0s. Fingers crossed. But it's Keen, TLO, Bly, and Petit Drogo. So we'll see you guys in a few.